Well, it's Wednesday morning. I'm gearing up to go to the Columbus Funny Bone Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm excited, and overall, I'm feeling good. Brendan is wearing a wonderful striped sailor outfit. What's going on, my friend? What is going on?
I don't give a shit that you're in Funny Bone.
Well, the people do out there. The people do.
You'd be surprised. What have you been up to, man?
What have I been up to? I have been managing my real estate, acting, writing stand-up, crushing it, driving my Tesla, and exercising and feeling good. That's what I've been
Things
up
are
to.
going well?
They're
Things are going well for you?
They couldn't be going better.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is my money?
Your money?
My money.
The $3,000?
Hey, remember when we bet on the Connor
I'll get that to you. I'll be getting that
Diaz
to
fight?
you.
No. It was due Monday.
What do you mean it's due Monday? I didn't know there was a due date on it. Give me a second. I have a lot of bills.
Second?
Well,
It's
I was just
Wednesday,
getting
bitch.
I know, but I have a lot of. Can I get a little breathing room, please? Let me
ask you something.
Let me get it to you in pieces. Are you really going to collect the money?
Am I going to collect my... Let me ask you something. Have
Yeah.
you ever seen Zero Dark 30?
Have I seen Zero Dark, the movie? Yeah.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
I watch it every night.
Every night.
Every night before bed.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why are you looking at me like that?
I need my fucking money.
I'll get you your money, dude. Well, let's not do this on the... Hey, what are you... Get off me! Hey, seriously! I can't see! What are you doing? I can't see! I can't... What are you doing?
You don't have to do this.
No! Hey, Keely, or somebody call the police. What the fuck are you doing? I'll get your...
Where is my money?
Oh, please, not the water. It's so cold in my throat.
Why are you always late?
I gotta explain. Hold on. Let me just give me a second. Give me a second.
What'd you do with my money?
Water in my throat. I'm gonna get you. I swear I got it. Don't pour any more water in my throat. I can't. I drank too much this morning.
Why are you always late to the show?
Because traffic, but I'm not.
Why do you lie all the time? Oh, God.
Please. Okay, I'll give you your money.
Just give me the goddamn
I'll
money.
give you your money. Just give me a second.
Where's the money?
I got it. It's in my car. Let me just go
That's not
again.
going to work. I don't trust you.
No, God, trust me.
I don't trust
Listen,
you.
no more water
I
in
don't
my
trust
throat.
you.
No, I got it. Just let me go to my fuck.
Ev, you got square, right?
Square? What the fuck? Hey, what are you doing?
Where the fuck's
Yeah.
your wallet?
My wallet? Why? I only have credit cards in there.
Yeah, I know. Hold.
Please. What's going on? What are you doing?
Run that shit.
Go.
3,500.
No. What?
3,500.
3,000.
No, the juice, buddy.
Get over it. No, I don't
Need
want
you to
that.
sign,
I'm
pal.
not signing that. You can't.
Need you to sign.
This
Oh,
is
yes, you
bullshit.
are.
Oh, my God. You're hurting my head. You're hurting my
Yes,
head.
you are.
Oh, God. Yeah, please. I play the drums. God. God. Oh, my.
Damn it. Well, didn't want to have to do that.
Dude,
I appreciate you taking care of your bet.
You just, I hope, did you get that on camera?
I've always wanted to do that.
Dude, you waterboarded me.
I know. I felt like you were.
I couldn't
felt
fucking
like
see.
you were ISIS.
And you had water in my mouth.
And I saw red, and you owe me money. I've been watching a lot of Vice.
Dude, I drank 4 mouthfuls of
It was cold.
Arrowhead water, dude.
And it was cold.
It hurt my throat. It was super cold.
I thought about shoving this in your mouth like a ball gag and then pouring the water, but then
Why would you do that to me?
I don't know the details on waterboarding. I actually call that water
Dude, you held me down by my throat and you made me drink almost 3 ounces of water.
Well, at least you paid your debt, though, my man. Proud
And then you
of
made me sign it off.
That was square too. It's 2016. I don't need a fucking check or cash.
Listen, I just
went
got
straight to my account.
I just got waterboarded, and my new 5'4" shirt's all wet in the back.
Hey, man. You could Could have just bypassed all this. Pay me my money.
Yeah, well, you can't just force me. And what happened to the 500? What is that? You never mentioned any.
It's called juice.
Bro, you can't just charge me.
It's called juice.
You can't.
You never seen any of these gangster movies,
bro?
There's juice. You just tell me how successful, how everything's all good. There's gonna be some repercussions. Your repercussions of being 4 days late.
You can't 0 dark 30 me, dude.
I'm a 0 dark 30 again.
Can't see.
I'm looking for a reason.
No, man, take it easy. You can't bully me up like that.
0 dark 30.
You just bullied me up. You 0 dark 30.
They all break. They always do.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Next time, you better not take my pants off.
You wish.
You better not. I'll be so mad.
I actually asked Fox if I get like one of those wooden holes that they shoved the prisoner in, and they were like, "No, we can't do them." Like,
you better
don't
not
be
put me in a
babies.
box with just one wooden hole and put your dick in it.
Talking about glory hole.
You better not.
You better not.
You better not glory hole me. If you put me in a box and just stuff your dick in there, I'm gonna be so mad.
What if I create a torture device? It's a glory hole, but there's a bunch of holes, like Swiss cheese,
Just to see a dick.
and then just me, Evan. I have the whole Fox employees run the train on you.
Just a bunch of guys.
Just all dicks.
Just dicks everywhere. Even to be in a box with a bunch of dicks touching me like that. Oh no.
And then there's gonna be one that's like shaped different, and it's an asshole.
Yep.
You going tongue to.
Oh, I thought we had somebody coming in.
Yeah, thanks for paying though, man.
Dude, that's
Well, it's getting embarrassing.
That hurt my finger.
I know. Well, it's getting embarrassing for me. We're on Jay and Dan last night. They brought it up.
Yeah.
And then when they saw it, my dad texted me. He goes, I don't get why Brian just didn't pay you. I went, Dad, he's a liar.
Listen, dude, I would have paid you. You should have given me some
Never
time.
would have paid me.
You just
I see you remodeling your
just want you guys
house.
to know
I
that
see
he
you doing
took
all
my
this
credit
stuff.
card and actually ran it to a Square.
Straight into my bank account.
And I had to sign.
Using Square.
That's not cool. What are you drinking right now? A protein shake?
Be bulletproof coffee with some protein in it. Can I help you?
Really?
Can I help you? I had to get jacked. I had to jacked up for this 0 Dark 30 event.
Yeah. It's pretty
I
impressive.
dream about it.
I dream about it.
Can you imagine getting tortured like that?
Dude, even
When they put them in the box, I was like,
even just holding that, even just
Was it bad?
having to drink water
I was trying to be cool
quickly
too.
was a little bit difficult.
I want someone to waterboard me. I feel like it's not that bad. I know we've been over this. I want like a legit. You know, when you hit our boys up from Ranger 15,
My buddy was
Range
waterboarded
15.
in his training, and he
Ranger
said
up.
he's tough, and he got waterboarded part of his training. And I go, is it torture? He goes, look at me.
'Cause you're
He
supposed
goes,
to be drowning,
It's
right?
torture.
It
He
feels
goes,
like
he's
you're
tough.
drowning?
Yeah, he goes, it's torture.
well, yeah, there's a reason why they use it and it works. I'm just curious.
just sucks. You
yeah,
feel
I
like
just
you're
I just want
drowning.
someone to do it to me voluntarily.
It is different though, because you know that you're not going to die, so you just be intensely uncomfortable.
It depends. Like if you're
You don't know,
ISIS
though.
and
You don't
get,
know.
and you get picked up by the U.S. military
Yeah.
and you're in that shit that.
And you could die.
Well, yeah, they could. They might just be like, yeah, just keep on keeping on.
Well, apparently there's a 24-hour or 12-hour window before they have to, when they get you, and then when they have to kind of actually process you. And sometimes in that period,
our boys go ham on
they
you.
can soften
Our
you
boys
up.
go red, white, and blue.
Might just soften you up a little bit.
Oh, we're gonna go red, white, and blue on that ass.
It's called softening the target up a little.
They all break.
question.
They always do. It's just a matter of time.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn said he was in the Gulag, in Stalin's Gulag, which was this archipelago of prisons in the Soviet system. And he said, anybody who tells you that they've stood up to interrogation has not been interrogated properly. And here's one of the things they would do. They just put your feet in ice, start talking to you.
Feet nice.
Yeah, your feet go numb.
Bitch, is this a spa?
If you were a dancer, and then they put your feet in ice, and they keep adding ice, and your feet just
you
start.
go numb?
Yeah, and you realize, oh, they're not going to
Then
take
you
my
get
feet out of the
gangrene?
ice. Yeah, they're just going to. And then they take your feet out of ice, but then you hear somebody crying in the other room. And you go, what the fuck is that? And they go, oh, that's your mom, or that's your
Yeah,
sister.
that'd be torture.
We're doing that to her.
Yeah, I know.
And then you go, I'll sing like a fucking canary. There are so many
Those are
ways.
different ways. Yeah, yeah.
lot of
There's
ways
way
to bring
worse ways than that. Yeah, but
You know what I do in that situation? I don't need my feet.
oh, I go full Ryan Lochte. Fucking bring it.
I don't need my feet.
I've been waiting for this.
I don't need my fucking feet.
I've been waiting for this all my life. You all right, man?
Yeah, I'm just checking on my nephews. They're coming in.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we got
Yes.
Dominic Monaghan coming in.
We do.
He's an interesting guy, a very good actor, and has a show called Wild Things. And
I'm sure he'll break it all down for us. We don't have to do the run through. I'm sure he'll give us the
we'll get ourselves into a little conversation with the
spiel.
With the
whole spiel. Jay and Dan was fun last night, huh?
They crack me
Those guys
up.
are funny.
They're
the
very
big guy's
funny.
hilarious.
Jay, hilarious.
You know the Canadian?
They're both hilarious. Yeah, Canadians are great.
Canadians are really
I
funny.
generally like Canadians.
Hey,
Almost
can
all
we
of them.
get a fucking fighting kid in Canada? Why is that so hard?
I don't
Hey,
know.
Justin, if you're listening, what the fuck?
Well,
what do I have to do to get to Canada?
What do we got to do? I'm going to Ottawa. I wanted to parlay that into something. I'm doing some university in Ottawa.
Must be great, man.
Yeah.
Again, where the fuck is Fighting the Kid in Canada?
We got it.
We get all those comments. Trust me, I see them.
Can I tell you something?
If it was on me, it would be done by now.
We're gonna do a Canada tour.
I've been hearing that for 6 months, kids.
It's gonna be a Canada run, and you're gonna be very
Canada's so big.
Oh, it's big. We're going to start in
I don't think it's a
Vancouver,
run.
And we're going to end in Toronto, and it's going to be...
Not all at once. You wouldn't do a tour that big because you might as well go. That's like saying you're doing a U.S. tour.
Actually, that would be a 7-day tour. Wouldn't be bad.
That ain't happening. I think you put it into parts.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Or we do a 7-day tour. You know, it might be good. Just get our Canada on. I call it getting our Canada on.
Just knock out the old 1-2 maple horse.
How happy are you that we can make a living as entertainers when... You know, you sent me that article on the Olympics.
I sent you the article on the Olympics, but I also sent you the article on
boxing versus MMA.
The income. And they take the averages. So what the guy did, and we can post the article. You know what? We'll put on this week's newsletter. So they took the average income of boxing in California from the State Commission in California. I think for the past, it was 2 years or 3 years. But what they did is they took out the huge numbers from Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather as far as boxing overall. And so once you take those outliers, and even the UFC take the outliers, I think if I'm right, for UFC, the average income, this is everyone, top 10, everyone, down to the 600 man on the roster, the income was around 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
And for boxing, I think it was around 50-something, 48.
Well, I think it was less. In fact, for the HBO prelim, if you're on the prelim card
See,
of HBO...
you're talking about something different.
Right.
I'm talking about the average. You're talking something completely different. Because the average income for a MMA fighter outside of the main organizations was $1,200.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. You don't get into it if you're trying to make a lot of money. Unless you're...
The game's changing, but I mean, you know, the top...
But at the end of the day,
20 guys are making good money.
UFC guys actually make more money than the average boxer. The HBO prelim
UFC does.
undercard made the average boxer, I think, made $1,600 for the prelim.
Well, that's like comparing apples to pears. Like you can't really do UFC guys compared to the undercard on HBO.
You mean in boxing?
Yeah.
Well, but if you look at the prelim UFC card versus the prelim boxing
which is
card,
on which is on Fox, which is on Fox Sports, which is, you know.
So it's bigger.
And they also have names.
Yeah.
Boxing doesn't do a good job promoting their guys. Like who's gonna?
I don't know how you can afford to box anyway if it's $1,600 though.
Well, let's just take this. It's not on HBO, but let's just take this. If you're a UFC fighter making 60 grand a year, let's just go through this. And I'm not complaining. They chose to do this live. I did it. So you make 60 grand a year. Well, I want you guys to think about this. That 60 grand, you go after taxes. About 48 maybe with write-offs stuff like, so 48 maybe ish, 45, right? Then you still got to pay your manager. You still got to pay an agent typically. And then you got your coaches.
Yeah.
So you're looking at probably your income is around high 20s a year.
Yes. Which is just...
Which you could work
enough.
at Starbucks.
Yeah.
You could do Starbucks.
Olympic athletes, same thing. And depending on the sport...
is different because it's amateur, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the Olympics and what I sent you an article on that. I mean, Tony, what gave me the idea is Tony Jeffries. And Tony has a podcast called Boxing Life where he talks about the Olympics.
Right.
And how tough it is outside of it. So me and him were talking about it. He sent me a link. I sent it to you where... You know, Olympic athletes get done and they've committed their entire lives to being an Olympian. And when that runs over, we know the Michael Phelps, just like with anything. We know the Michael Phelps. We know the, all these gymnasts and the famous people and the Ryan Lockeys and the USA basketball. But those are the 1%ers. The majority of them have dedicated their lives to this craft.
And by the way, then when you get in their early 30s with no other skills.
Well, when you don't have time to do others.
Yes.
If you're going to be one of the best in the world at whatever you're sport is, it takes full commitment.
Yep, exactly.
Like I remember Rhonda was saying after she got done with the Olympics, it was like, what now? And even Tony said the same thing. He said he got done, was like, he had pro boxing, but it was still like you had this regiment, you had this goal. He was on the English boxing team that they bred these kids to be Olympians since they were young. So it's like you have this huge goal, and then you finally do it, and it's like, all right, well, for Tony, not a lot of education.
Right. What's
he know? Boxing. He's a businessman through experience, but no education, no degrees. You know what I'm saying? He's a very smart guy. Tony's a street smart guy with hustling, and he knows he's around smart people.
Yes.
So he learns that way.
Yeah.
Tony can't read. That's not breaking news, but Tony was never like, and it's not a knock on him. So
it wasn't relevant to what he was after.
It wasn't important.
Boxing since he was what, 8 or 10?
6. His dad owned a boxing gym. But Tony was saying how, it wasn't a thing to him. But I told Tony, he was going in this meeting with a mutual friend of ours, a big time business guy. And Tony goes, yeah, sometimes I feel insecure, stuff like that. And I've been there. And I went, Tony, you got to remember, these guys, when you were grinding away in the gym, day after day, waking up at 5 a.m., running on the road, doing all this stuff, you commit your life to that. You have a knowledge in that they don't have.
Exactly.
So you're smart in other areas.
Yes.
This guy might have read all the books in the world, but he doesn't possess the talent or the drive you have. So you need to go in there and own it, man.
Right.
Obviously you're not going to compete with him as far as if he's dropping knowledge on whatever, biophysics. That's not your lane.
Sure.
He's not smarter than you.
No.
I think a lot of people go into job interviews or when they meet successful people, they assume they're smarter than that person's smart, and they almost shut down. Yeah. And I tell everyone they're different. They're different. They had a different interest when maybe I was playing college football, you were on Mad TV.
Exactly.
I was balls deep in college football.
Exactly.
If I could redo it, would I have done improv or something like that? Probably, but I probably wouldn't be here today. I don't know if I'd be here if I was.
The bottom line is
all I'm saying is,
true. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
When you get older, too, it becomes blindingly clear that even with academics, really quote unquote learned people, it doesn't mean they're smarter. It means they put their energy someplace else.
Yes, exactly.
And so as you get older, you realize that's exactly right. Tony has a working knowledge of the sweet science on a very, very deep level.
I told Tony, I said, a lot of stuff he doesn't.
And by the way, he's also made a business work. Box and Burn is,
But the guy he's meeting with has a way bigger business.
Of course.
But I just told Tony, I said, never get it twisted, man. While you were grinding away in the gym, that was your focus. His focus was on books.
Yes.
But he would never do what you decided. I said, imagine if you dedicated your life to books and his thing. You'd probably be way further along.
One of the biggest issues with academics a lot of times is that they get a theoretical knowledge of something, right? So they have a theoretical, they look at all of the data, they look at all and they get a theoretical knowledge, not a working knowledge of something.
They don't have a lot of them don't create their own opinions.
Sure.
They're regurgitating what they read in these textbooks.
If I came to you and I said, hey, Brendan, I've looked at all the data, and the athletes that kick more tend to have a higher ratio of winning because of this, that, and the other. You'd be like, that's great. That might be true on your graph, but for me and my working, knowledge,
set of skills,
it's not relevant. It just depends on what you're dealing with. And you have to have both.
Yeah.
The marriage of both is very important.
Have to have both.
Yes.
You have to be open to both.
You have to be open to both, because when you are exclusive to one or the other, you're going to be blind. The idea is to figure out. And there's a very, very fundamental distinction between simple and simplistic. You ever hear simplistic and simple? Simple is very difficult. Simple is not easy. But learning something, you can simplify what's important to learn about it. But simplistic means that you're being simplistic about something and you're leaving out essential factors when you describe it.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea.
So right now I'm reading I think it's 25-year history of Saturday Night Live. It's the book that starts from when
Belushi,
Lorne Michaels had the idea to how it got made to his background, then everyone who's came through their auditions, the people who audition, the stories behind the scenes, Belushi, Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Robin Williams, and all of them contribute to the book. Lauren, all of them.
Wow.
And they all these great stories. Has the writers, Larry David. I don't know if he was a writer on there for a year, and he would pitch all these great sketches, and they wouldn't get picked up.
Yep.
And while the cast was dying, but the other people, when the producer went pick it up.
Yeah.
So the behind the scenes story is insane. But then they're
grueling too. The amount of work that they would when they sit around.
They're saying that's what separated them. But to me, what was crazy, there they are. To me, what's up, fellas? I'm not mad at that hair at all.
Bun.
What's up,
my
brother?
nephew with the man bun.
I'm not mad at that at all.
No. How about the tailpiece on the kid?
A little messy over here.
There it is, the boys.
But what I was saying is that with Saturday Night, they're talking about how they had like this community, and it was like this super creative community. Granted, some didn't see eye to eye, they didn't get along, but after they would have like these special nights at this bar, and a lot of them came from Second City and Groundling, stuff like that. And I was just like, dang, man, like I feel like I missed out. I'm not saying I can compete with those guys at all. I'm just saying sometimes I wish I put my effort into that when I was young, because what they had, and that you and I, because we have this show that we're shooting for Fox, and I was telling Brian, like, what I want is something special and original. Like, now, obviously you can't compete with Saturday Night Live, but there's the reason why I read this stuff, because there's certain aspects that can help you realize the in and outs of the business, especially in that sketch world.
First of all, as somebody who comes from that sketch world, I can tell you that it's really more a question of, like, a lot of people say, well, they look at that, how can I get to be that good? When it comes to any kind of artistic expression, the biggest battle is just learning how to express exactly who you are, what makes you unique. Then you can put that into form, which is where practice comes in. But there aren't a lot of people that have had your athletic experience and now your entertainment experience and marrying that.
Yeah.
That's one thing they don't have.
Yeah.
So
what was funny is they talk about how some guys would just grind, just like they were these guys who hopefully their sketch would get picked up and they wanted to be in it, and they would just work their ass off. And their writing sessions, and there was a ton of drugs involved, a ton of drugs,
a
lot of blow, and other stuff, but a lot of sex too. But their work schedule is based from 11 at night to 6 in the morning.
Exactly.
Is when they would write.
They work all night.
That is when they would write, because they would do all this shit. So
it's like a boot camp. It's crazy.
Boot camp, but people thrive in it. But they were saying how some guy would come up with this great sketch and be working endlessly, relentlessly on just perfecting it, and then Eddie Murphy would walk in like, what are you trying to do? And he'd be like, oh, I'm doing it. And he's young. He's like, what are you trying to do?
19.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, I'm trying to do this. He's like, oh, yeah. And the guy would do it. And he goes, let me try it. And then he'd do it literally on the spot. And they'd be like, well, all right, that's it, man.
He was prodigiously
And there's
talented.
like egos and jealousy involved and stuff like that. But what you see is like in the writing process, and we haven't had this when we did Fire and Kid 3D, but in the writing process, egos get involved where it changes the.
So on Mad TV,
so with them trying to manage that, I'd love to hear some of the Mad TV
Yeah,
stories.
so Mad TV, what you would do is you would have all the writers there and the producers and everything.
Which is how many writers?
We had it was 8 cast members and we all wrote. But what
you have to, if you most of the times, I don't mean to interrupt, but just for the listeners out there, most of the time, like on Saturday Night Live, if they sign you, you're usually a writer performer. You're coming up with bits.
You come to that table with your own characters. The audition is, let's see 5, 6, 7 of your characters. Mad TV.
It's not just people writing, then you're acting.
No.
It's a big
My audition for Mad TV was the longest I've ever, by far, of any audition. I think it was 20 minutes, because I had to come to the table with 5 characters, and then they wanted me to do a James Bond character, which I was like, oh, okay, let me come up with something. And then they had scenes that they had written for you in other characters. So they wanted to see as much character work as was possible. But
like how dynamic you are?
They want to see what your diversity was. They want to see if you could do impressions.
Yes.
So you go in there, and it's just like so daunting, and you're in a room with a bunch of other real
how old
badasses.
Are you at the time?
I was 27, 28. And I had not had a lot of improv experience, but I had had a lot of acting experience, and
a lot of acting. Yeah.
So I go in there, and what you would do though, it got much harder when you got the job, because when we got the job, and remember, Mad TV at the time was touted as the sort of what was going to now compete with Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live was 25 years in.
So was it? So at the time, fill me in here, B. What year is this?
1995.
So there's Mad TV, Saturday Night Live, and In Living Color.
Yes. Well, In Living Color had gone away.
Okay.
And
so it's just Mad TV to
yes,
compete.
and the writers, producers of In Living Color started a show called Mad TV.
Okay.
And so now everybody auditions for it. It was this long, crazy. In fact, when I got the job, they said, "You want to feel good?" I said, "Yeah." And they showed me all the actors that had auditioned that didn't get it, and I went, "Wow, this business."
So let me ask you this: so you do the audition. It's the longest, hardest audition. You see all the guys in line, and you walk out. Did you think you got it when you walked out?
Well, first of all, the audition started in New York. Everybody who was a comedian, everybody who was an actor was auditioning for this.
So you're already in New York because you're born and raised there. You were in New York. The audition was there.
Yeah.
So you went and did the audition.
Yes. So
did an agent tell you to do this, or did you word of mouth?
I did some stand-up, this weird character in stand-up. I was just starting to do stand-up.
I wish there was filming that.
I just started doing stand-up at a place called Rebar that Dave Becky, who owns 3 Arts, and he had put it on. And in fact, David Blaine called up Dave Becky and said, you gotta see my boy Brian Callen. And Dave Becky said, all right. And I sent him a tape of me pretending I was a penguin. I was reborn a penguin.
Fantastic.
Terrible. But he goes, you're unique. I want to put you on. Put me on, and a guy named Ken Trush saw me. He was
he an agent?
He was a manager.
A manager? And he had a tie, and then he knew about Mad TV auditions.
And Mad TV had fired someone, and they were looking for sort of a leading man. They didn't have a quote-unquote leading man. Back then, I was a cutie pie. They go, we need a leading man who can be physical and funny.
Go ahead and put up that bat signal for the kid.
Go ahead and put the bat signal on the kid.
So you go to audition, which on what days? Thursday afternoon or some shit?
Well, back then, what you would do is you would put yourself on. You would videotape. They would videotape you and send the tape. No digital. They'd send
VHS.
the tape via UPS or whatever to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But what I did was I went in and the tape somehow got lost. So my manager said, "Can you put yourself on tape right away? And here are the sides." They gave me the sides. Back then, you had to go pick up the sides at your agency.
No, they're not emailing, dude.
No, no such thing as email.
Sometimes pigeons to you.
Sometimes pigeons. They would send a pigeon. I get him. I'm with Jimmy Burke, who you know well, and it's a love. I had to do a thing with a woman.
Shout out to Jimmy Burke.
Shout out to Jimmy Burke. I had to do a love scene, and Jimmy goes, "Why don't you do it with me?"
Of course.
And I did it with him. And
did he have a wig on or something?
He had. I don't remember. He may have had a wig on. I have the tape somewhere. It's incredible. And what got me the part they said was that I kept finding out that he was like, "I'm your sister." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm also your mother." What? And the line was "what?" And I kept taking the "what?" and I kept going, "What?"
Which I got from you and I do now.
By the last "what?" though, I went, because he goes, and I'm pregnant with your baby. And finally I went, ooh. And that was my what? Dude, they told me they fell the fuck out. And I get a call the next day and go, "You're going, pack a bag, you're going to LA tomorrow."
This new manager told you
Yes.
this.
Now you have to understand that I was 27. I was working, I believe, as a temp at Goldman Sachs. I was living in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I was living above a Chinese restaurant. Oh, and by the way, my dad and I had a little tension because my dad thought I was going to be a huge failure. And so I was basically...
It's like Pursuit of Happiness, Mad TV.
I had a roommate, and it was a tiny little place, and I hated my life. And I'm telling you, when I say I lived under a Chinese restaurant, the vent was going. You would smell
under on top
in the summer. I'm sorry, on top. So you would smell that food. It was the whole thing.
Mad
was a
at it. It's like Panda Express.
It was bad, especially in that heat.
Sure.
And I remember leaving so quickly. And when I got there, this is where desperation comes in. I had to go in and do this audition and check this out. And I looked around, and I knew from my manager that a lot of these people were really experienced and talented. I got in there, and it was probably, I'd say, 25 executives. And I literally got in, and my ass started to, like, I don't know why I thought of this, but I go, I'm just going to have my ass actually come at one of them, and I'm going to have to slap him down because he got really excited. And I literally went, "Oh, dude, was Quincy Jones in here? I just caught a groove," and I couldn't stop dancing because Quincy Jones at the time was was producing
Yeah.
it. And I started going, I can't
is
stop
weird.
moving. You guys, what's going on? Oh, no, he likes you. Watch out. And my ass started coming. And I slapped him down and I go, sorry, he really likes you. Like, you know what a dog would do? And they were like, what the? And I remember
That's how you
this
kicked it off.
executive was looking at me going, with her mouth open, not smiling. She was like, what is he fucking doing? Long story short, the audition, 20 minutes later.
You stuck out.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I was on the ground. I got that part because I had to. Because I've never had this experience.
You caution to the wind.
I was so desperate. I was so desperate and so afraid I was never going to make it. And I got that part because I had to get it. I had to get it. I couldn't not get it. I remember saying, if I don't get this, I can't go back to New York and go back to Hoboken, New Jersey. I can't go back to working as a temp. I was so miserable.
So how long after audition do you find out you got the gig?
Exactly 24 hours. And I
Only 24 hours?
Yep. And when I got it, I remember.
Were you in LA or New York?
I was in LA. I was in a hotel. I was looking up at the ceiling just like this with the,
the popcorn. The popcorn
ceiling. And I remember looking up and I was so drained, but I was so relieved.
There's a lot of
this is going to
emotional.
sound so cheesy, but I went for a jog. And when
This is before or after you found
This is
out?
after.
So they gave you the call and was like, yo, you got it.
You got the part. You said you blew them away. You got the part. Call my dad.
And how back then, how much money? Like
$7,500 a week I was going to make.
Okay, which is great money back
money.
then. But also, is that a year? Is that a year contract or for the season?
You sign a 5-year contract.
5 years.
Yeah. Now you get increments of money, but back then I didn't care. Money they paid me $3.
Yeah.
I was on TV. I was on Fox. And back then it was before cable. So remember when you're on TV.
Oh, Simpsons. Then Mad TV.
Yeah. And so I was on legit TV and I had made it. And I remember, this sounds so cheesy. I remember running. I went running up in the hills, near Hollywood Lake. And I got up to the top and I threw my arms up in the air like Rocky, dude. Yeah. And it was not because I was doing it. I was like, it was this
Finally,
overwhelming feeling of I did something
important.
All you hear is how you're never going to make it as an actor.
True.
All you hear is how insane this is. All you hear is, and then you're telling yourself that, and then you go to theater school and everybody quits. Or you go to you're in New York and you're going for an audition. You can't even get in for auditions. You can't get in for auditions.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah. And then you look at yourself and you're like, well, I'm a regular dude. I don't know. I don't know if I'd cast me either. Oh, by the way, I'm not that good. There are 1,000 things. You're competing with dudes. I remember with, what's his name? Perry, Matthew Perry from Friends. He's been acting forever, right?
You're not funnier than you.
Well, but he's been acting forever. And when you go into an audition with that guy, he's been doing it
I thought you were
forever.
saying like Dave Chappelle or some shit.
No, I'm saying as an actor, though, Matthew Perry's been doing it for, I think, since he was like 10.
I know, but he's about as funny as that water bottle.
He's pretty good on Friends.
No, he's great on Friends.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see his ass in sketch comedy.
Oh, no, I'm saying, but you had when you're going for a sitcom.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was at the Mad TV audition. What the fuck?
He was already on Friends, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Mad TV.
No.
I was like, get the fuck out. I see Matthew Perry. I'm like, I got this shit.
But those are the guys that those were the guys that they were going out to. And you're just a dude. You're just another dude, especially me. Hey, medium white guy. Next. Hey, are you cute? Do you think you're cute? We got an audition for a wine commercial. Put on a suit. I didn't even own a suit. You know me with clothing.
Yeah,
I put on some terrible suit. I get there, a bunch of dudes who are 6'3" and professional model dudes. Where you go, I started laughing. I went, what the fuck is this?
Have you ever been around a professional model?
The best looking people in the world.
You're like, what the fuck am I? Hey, man.
Yeah.
The fuck am I doing?
Is this the other for the turd with eyes?
Dude, I was in Irvine yesterday. That it's like Whole Foods on steroids. It's ridiculous pricing.
Yeah, it's actually more expensive than Whole Foods.
They make fun of Whole Foods, so it's like
Whole Foods gets their retail.
So it's like the Ralph to Whole Foods, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like King Soopers. Yeah. So the King Soopers old school Denver, but
if they have camel milk, do you know that?
Oh yeah,
they have fucking camel milk.
Bone marrow shake and shit.
Yeah,
I got a shake yesterday.
Bone marrow shake and camel.
$24. God, the fuck. Anyways, it was delicious, but this dude walks in with like a hat and just this fucking shirt. He's skinny and thin. I was like, God, dog, that's a good looking dude. Like a good looking human, man. You just gotta give props. And his girl was a dime piece. And they're behind me. I'm like, why the fuck does he look like what's going on here? And he just came from a shoot from Abbott Kenny. And I go, oh, your man's a model? She goes, yeah, how'd you know? I went, you serious? She just started laughing.
Because he's got a leather band that he tied around his wrist,
Not
and
even.
somehow it looks
No,
good.
he had nothing. He had like on a flowing white shirt, some short shorts, flip-flops, and then this hat. And I was like, God damn, we're not cut from the same cloth.
No, some people just look. They're
I look
just
like
made,
I look like an eggplant next to this guy. I look like shit.
Some people are made to put on clothing and stand still.
I got out there quick.
I'm getting at it.
I'll see ya. See ya. I told you when I went on the audition, I asked Adam, you'll see him tonight. I text him, I went, fuck you. He goes, why? I went, bro, I'm at this audition, and it's the who's who, man.
Oh, yeah.
And there's 30 of them.
Yeah.
There's 30.
Yeah.
There's fucking 30.
How many times have I been on an audition where I swear to God, where they're looking for a guy kind of blue collar or something like that, and I get there and I go, I'd cast every one of these guys before me. They look better. They just have more blue collar. It's just, it's you're competing with the shit. Girls, it's really interesting to see women who come to Hollywood and they're like, they were the pretty girl in their high school.
Oh, you're a prom queen? Oh, you're a prom king in Nebraska? Come here, year 5. Yeah, LA 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't fuck around in it. You ever seen LA 10?
It's on a different level.
You will nut in your pants.
I'll leave my wife.
You will
and kids.
nut down the 405.
Mommy, daddy. So I gotta go. But we don't have any food. I can't.
Nah, bitch. If you see a hard LA 10, you will be driving down the 405 like, ah, God.
Learn how to tap dance on cardboard with a cup. Fend for yourself. I gotta go.
Dude, and I'm balls deep in the show in hip hop in Hollywood. There's one of the girls from there in the gym yesterday at Box and Burn. I can't even hit mitts. I couldn't start my workout. I asked Tony. I went, let's wait till she fucking leaves.
Just too much.
It will shut your world down.
Yes.
The entire gym I was like, what time's class? He's like 10:15. I think everyone's waiting for her to leave. It was like the Pope was in the fucking.
I say that to
an ass from. It's like, what the fuck are you made out of?
I say that to people who are like, all these girls and he's chasing girls. I go, well, hold on for a second, bro. You don't understand what kind of a lifestyle he lives. He's a famous guy in Hollywood. Now, if you saw the kind of candy
Who are you talking
about? I'm talking about certain actors.
Certain friends, yeah.
Yeah, and people are like, well, I'm like, just hold on for a second. Because you don't know and have never experienced even a little bit what that dude deals with. Like the kind of candy and the variety that's
fuck
thrown
candy.
his way.
Fuck candy. It's like being a fucking cokehead, and everywhere you go, there's coke.
Yeah.
And it's the best coke in the world. I'm like, hey, do you want some of this?
Yeah.
But instead of your nose, it's in your dick.
nose.
You know what I'm saying?
On your dong.
On your dong.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you're a recovering addict, and everywhere you go, people are offering you. You want some of this? You want some of this?
When Jeremy Piven
Sure do.
When Jeremy Piven was at the height of his powers, when Entourage was the hottest thing, he brought me to Montreal to help him with some stand-up. And we were
you told this story.
minding
Yeah,
our
it's
own
a funny
business,
story.
drinking wine in the lobby of the hotel. And some woman who just was a wrangler for celebrities shows up with 8 10s.
Some Montreal 10s, which are fucking.
I was like,
If you've ever been to Montreal, it's like a melting pot of.
hey, my wife had just had a baby. And I was like, huh?
What baby?
What baby?
What baby?
I don't even know if that's my baby. I started questioning my baby.
What baby?
Yeah, this girl tried to loop her arm around my arm. I was like, that's not a good idea, even though I'm in Montreal. And I'm telling you, 3 steps in,
It's a different country.
Brian, it's Jennifer, Jessica's best friend. Jessica, your wife's sister. I was like, hi.
What?
I don't even know who these girls are.
Yeah, right?
My wife called me. She goes, I heard you were walking around with a bunch of girls. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe there were girls in the area.
Dude, so imagine this. So Jeremy Piven, good-looking dude, Entourage, good. Our buddy, good-looking dude, short, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're like fucking David Beckham or The Rock.
What?
You walk in a fucking room, you got titties in your face.
How about LeBron James? How about athletes who are on the high level?
LeBron looks like Morgan Freeman.
He's still got
His face and hairline, tough. I was talking about pretty people. His hairline and face is tough, and he's one of my favorite athletes.
Hey man.
But his hairline was
How
like,
about Stephen Curry?
see ya.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Curry's too small.
I've seen.
What's up, brother?
I've seen Derek Jeter. What's up, brother?
What's up?
How are you?
Oh, you're good, man. How you
worry
doing?
about
I'm not mad at that mustache.
Boys, my nephews.
Is this me?
Dominic Monaghan, look at him. Look at that subversive son of a bitch. He's got a mustache. He's got bracelets. He's got black nail polish.
Oh, it's like blue and black.
And he never stops working.
Yeah, it's blue and black. What's going on?
What's up, brother? Thanks for coming, man.
Of course. That was a fucking hectic drive down from Los Feliz.
Really?
Oh, that's a bit of a
supposed to
beast.
say somebody took you in a chopper.
Yeah, right. It would have been nice. I just never get used to this traffic. And I'm always trying to work out the different ways of solving the conundrum, like which streets I should take north
Do you
south.
use Waze?
No.
Or as my dad said, Waze.
Waze.
That's what my dad said. My dad goes, I go, hey, Dad, do you use Waze? He goes, no, I get this new app, Waze.
Right.
Well,
I'm just
that'd
trying
be the same
to
thing.
pinpoint where your accent's from, but I think it's Wales.
Nah, it's not. It's
Okay, hold on.
Wrong.
Is it Manchester?
Yeah, it is Manchester.
Got
but
it.
it's a bit all over the place now because most of my English friends say that I sound American, and then a lot of people from here, for some reason, think that I'm from New Zealand, where I lived for a little bit.
Yes.
Or South Africa. It's a weird one.
I can see South Africa.
Where are you from in South Africa? Yeah, but South African people talk like this. I don't talk
That's
like
right,
this.
that's
That's
right.
nothing like the way that I speak.
Well, I've never been there, so.
And Kiwi people kind of talk like that.
Yes.
So I'm like, wait, I don't talk anything like that. I'm not sure if American people can really pick up on.
I got to tell you, your accent sounds somewhat mischievous. It sounds.
Do you think it's because he's been here for so long and he's like doing all these different roles so the accent changes?
You have a very good ear, I would imagine. So
I'm good at picking up people's accents, yeah.
But I feel like you should say slowly. I would imagine if I had that accent, I would say things like, "Take your pants off."
Take your pants off.
Even the laugh is full of mischief.
You know what's weird to me is like with Australian actors or even English actors, why do they always have to use an American accent? Like, why not let them use their natural?
There's times where
Isn't it weird?
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
rare. Like, when's the last time you saw name a guy who's Batman?
Christian Bale.
Like he has a thick accent, man. Or
He's got a great English accent.
Great English accent.
Yeah.
Or Wolverine. What's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Great accent.
Huge.
Why can't fucking Wolverine talk like an Australian?
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often. I think American people like to hear stuff in their own accent.
Not
a
me.
lot, yeah.
Well,
I don't like it either. Well, there's times where like I think it works if you're playing like the roommate or whatever, because who knows where the roommate's from, But it's important for me as an actor to be able to play an American because that is like at least half of your job.
Yes.
Your agent will be like, well, it's for an American guy.
Well,
Or
you
someone
guys
from the
came
USA.
in when you guys started coming in. We all
What
of
do
us
you mean, you
Americans.
guys?
Well, Australians, the Brits,
The fucking
Scots,
Irish.
the Irish.
Sorry, Chad.
It's all right. And when you guys came in, you had all these really well-trained, very talented guys. So
Beast.
now we, as Americans, weren't just competing with each other. We were competing with across the fucking pond.
Yeah.
And it was like, these
and
dudes
they're-
are all really
and they're
good.
brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that little island almost took over the world too. And now they're kind of taking over entertainment.
Yeah.
My mom was born and raised in England, so I
Whereabouts, do you know?
in Stroud.
Oh, in Stroud, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
small
always
little
forget
area.
that.
Have you
That's
been?
why
You must have been to England.
I
right?
haven't.
Oh, man. You
Yeah,
should
Have
go.
you been
hate-
to UK?
No, I hate
You
to
would
fly.
be a massive hit over there.
Yeah, maybe.
Different accent, tattoos, you're massive. I mean, girls would be like, well, girls are really not that fit. We say fit in England, we don't say
Fit.
cute.
I know.
Fit.
Some of my best friends are all English, and they say, I'm like, damn, look at that girl. Like, yeah, she's fit.
Yeah, she's fit.
So I start using fit.
So
I
they're
know
not really
fit.
that fit.
I know-
So it's not, they have bad teeth and bad skin in England. But the good,
I celebrate that.
Not a lot of
yeah,
sun.
it's all right. You get the occasional nice one, but not that often. So you get fit girls, which is like cute, but then if they're well fit, then it's someone that you would like
Well
do some
fit,
prison
well
time
fit.
for.
And prison time. And the,
she's well
the
fit.
tans, it just doesn't really exist.
We
It's
don't have
just not
sun
in
over
your
there.
culture.
They turned off the sun over there in the 1960s. We couldn't afford it.
When you go there in the wintertime, I've been there many times, and it gets dark around 3:30.
Yeah.
And it's so depressing.
It's miserable, man. We have that sad thing, that seasonal acquired depression thing. We do have it. And also, there's a few things that you're fighting against in England. There's a poor diet in England, poor education about diet in England. So we do eat a lot of stodgy stuff, and the weather's bad, so you eat a lot of gravies and things that make you feel good, and potatoes and meat and stuff like that. And also, I think my saddest thing about England, and I love it, I come from there, is there is an issue with alcohol, but the major issue with alcohol is that they don't think there's an issue with alcohol.
That's a problem.
That's serious.
That's a problem. Yeah.
That's
great.
Like,
It's
just
like,
part
yeah,
of the culture.
Yeah, I just got wankered on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, clean myself up, Monday morning I was at work. You're like, no, that's a problem.
That'd
You
be
shouldn't
3
be
nights.
getting messed up on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday
and it
night.
starts around noon.
But also,
Day drinking.
a big
drinking.
problem is what's the legal age to drink there?
18, which means that most people are drinking around about 15.
For sure.
And there's not a lot to do for English kids, I mean, we have the cinema. And I mean, fitness is not a massive thing in England. It's got bigger
Not a lot
over
of
the past
gyms.
20 years. So no, not a lot. Certainly not as many as there are here.
You guys are fighters, though.
They are fighters.
Tough people,
and
man.
what I admire about English people is they'll work it out in a fight. No one's pulling out knives. No one's shooting guns in England.
Right.
So if you get into a conversation with someone and it gets heated, you're like, well, let's go outside and have a fight.
Which is awesome.
And you sort it out.
In America, they're going to shoot you in the face.
I was in a place called Bognor Regis.
Bognor Regis is a rough place, man.
It's a rough place.
Is it?
It's a rough
What
place.
is it? A town in England?
It's where the blue collar
London
folk go to.
No, it's outside of London. It's like close to Wales, Bognor Regis.
It's where the blue collar folk go for their vacation. It's like the redneck Riviera for and you go there and the beach is, first of all, it's windswept. It's cloudy, and the beach ain't a beach.
No one's from there.
It's big, jagged white rocks. It just sucks. It sucks. It's cold as fuck. I did a thing for Discovery Sports there, and they said, I want to go out, and they said, well. You mean
go out swimming?
I want to go out.
Night out.
Yeah, I want to go out.
Yeah.
They go, maybe not such a good idea. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I went to a bar there, and the one guy goes, just watch for knives. Sometimes you can get stuck. And I go, what?
Stuck?
What the fuck are you talking about?
You get stuck, yeah.
But I saw 10 fights break out.
Fuck.
They were getting drunk, and they were just fighting. Finally, the last fight was a girl was there talking to the guy. He got in her face. I guess they were dating. She gave him a short uppercut, boom, just hit him, caught him right in the jaw. He was a big guy, and it was a beautiful shot. She was a big girl, big bone,
thick,
big bone. I'm talking about
fish
big old
and
ankles.
chips. She doesn't miss a fish and chip meal.
Oh, she got that those Mark Hunt hips into it. Caught him. His head bolted back. He came back, grabbed her around the throat with both hands, and just ran her into the bar. And then it was all a fucking clusterfuck. And then I just got the hell out of there. 10 fights.
Dude, we need to go to England. I want to do, so it's probably too soon to do it there, but I want to do a live fight in the Kid in London. I want to do it around the Bisping Dan Henderson 2 match. Yeah. Are you a big UFC fan?
Yeah, I love UFC.
So with Bisping,
Bisping did.
Yeah, with Bisping, he's kind of your guy's. People don't give him enough credit. Granted, he's champ now. If you remember what Bisping did for the sport, he really put England on the map for him. He was the voice for the British. He was
great.
He won the Ultimate Fighter. And then when you get to the UFC, he has this mouthpiece on him.
Yeah, it keeps it real.
He's never lost.
You sound like
in
him.
England
a little bit, yeah, because we're both from Manchester.
Yeah, there you go. Both from Manchester.
He's not changed his accent. Honestly, I think it's quite interesting with Bisping at the moment because I think he's kind of peaked. Like, I thought he left it all out on the canvas in that last fight, and he won. And you can see in his speech afterwards that he was pretty over the moon about what happened, and that he was like, I've dreamt about this all my life. I've done it. I felt like, I wonder how much he's got left in the tank because he's not a spring chicken anymore, is he?
No, he has
late 30s.
He has a ton of fights. He has an eye issue. No one trains harder.
Yeah.
Him knocking out Rockhold, I woke up my baby, and I don't do that for anyone.
You trained with him for a long time.
I trained with him, and when he knocked him out, I jumped out of my chair because he was supposed to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
And the thing, that guy, 10-year career, it never went his way. Like when he fought Chael Sonnen, lost decision. Most people thought he won.
Yeah.
Rashad Evans fight, like he always got this close, and it never happened, man.
Yeah.
So when he won, I remember I got emotional, man, because I worked on UFC Now, trained with him. I sent him a text, and he sent me a great text back, and it's just like, man. But then I thought about it. So he beat him. A chance of him doing that again are not good.
I agree.
They're not good.
Where does he go from there?
Well, now he fights Dan Henderson, right?
Yes.
Which is a good fight for him.
It's a good
if
one.
you look at the division, and I don't want to get too balls deep in UFC right now, but if you look at the division, it's the best matchup for him. Dan Henderson, this is his last fight.
Similar age, right?
Similar age, similar experience. If I wouldn't be mad if Bisping won this fight and then just walked away.
Yeah.
There's no way he does it. The competitor in him is nuts.
Yeah, it's a cool way to do it. I got a lot of respect for him, and I think people in Manchester were like, oh, shit, we had no idea, because boxing's really big in England, and boxing's really big in Manchester. UFC's not quite as big, but I'm always telling my mates what's going on over here if they're not watching it. And, I thought Bisping did really well. I just think now he might have won that championship 4 or 5 years too late, to be able to defend it as someone at the peak of his game.
You're right. But the thing is, there's no other really like big English fighters. Like there's like no prospects.
Yeah.
There's really like the amateur scene and the other scene. You would think with Bisping as big as he is, it would encourage more of it, but you don't see a lot of, like, you have Michael Venom Page, but he's in Bellator. He's an English
It's because of boxing. It's because boxing is so big.
Boxing, you guys, you got Anthony Joshua, gold medalist, and he's a fucking nightmare. To me,
never wear clothes if I look like that.
Dude, me neither.
And a lot of welterweights, a lot of middleweights, a lot of young kids.
Remember, Amir Khan came out of England,
Tyson
too.
Fury's a bit mental. I'm not really crazy about Tyson Fury.
Well, he's not English, though, is he?
What is he?
Is he? I don't think he's English.
He is English. He's English.
Oh, why did I think he was from Wales or something? He's a gypsy. Oh, he's English. There you go.
He's a gyppo.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's a gyppo.
What is that? What is it?
Gyppo.
Explain that to me.
Gyppo's like, you're not really from anywhere. It's like a put down when you say someone where you from and they go, well, I was born in London, but then I moved to Milton Keynes and then I moved to Liverpool for a little bit. You're like, you're a gyppo. You got no home. You're not.
But
Nothing to call your own.
Tyson Fury was saying in this, I think it was 60-minute piece or Real Sports. He's saying the discrimination against gypsies is insane.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the same. He says he feels they're more discriminated against than African Americans in America.
Yeah, I would think they are.
So there is a group of people called gypsies.
Oh,
Gypsies,
yeah.
It's not made up.
Romany gypsies who have been in our country for millennia have been over there in those very ornate, beautiful caravans. It's a fight, beautiful. It's so gorgeous when it's parked in your back garden and they're setting fire to mattresses and shit. No, but they're a traveling community. They don't necessarily always traditionally work for money. They'll work for trade. So I'll make you this, you give me that type thing.
And let's be honest. They
don't pay taxes.
Let's be honest. Let's also be honest. They may be tough. There is an element of criminality that has always been attributed to gypsies, and because they're transient,
they live off the land.
It's not all made
and
up.
don't pay.
No, it's not.
No, they live off the land. They're not educated and they don't pay taxes. So there's this people think they're just freeloaders and they're stealing from the economy.
Pickpockets.
There's an underbelly. There's also this really weird culture of like the girls. So the weddings are incredibly over the top. They all get dressed up. It takes weeks to organize. I mean, most weddings take a long time to organize. But like big pre-wedding parties and then the wedding itself and then parades around town and stuff like that. Gypsy girls tend to look a little slutty. That's kind of their
My
look.
Favorite.
Is like Amy Winehouse with half her clothes on.
Not
look.
bad.
Okay. I mean, Amy Winehouse.
I'd love to join the gypsies.
Like wife beaters and fucking short skirts.
Yeah,
and
this is
a
awesome.
bit tight.
Yeah,
but
man.
they're actually really well behaved because if a gypsy girl has any like extracurricular stuff before she gets married, she gets fucking battered by her community. So they look like sluts, but they're actually not sluts.
Oh wow!
So you want to
marry
a dream?
Yeah, so you want to marry a gypsy lady? Really?
They're beautiful. I know this like gypsy style type singer called Neon Hitch, who's got the whole gypsy like beehive fucking crazy dressing thing going on. Who's got a really sexy vibe about her,
Yeah.
Would it be like our Suicide Girls? Does that make sense?
A little bit. Suicide Girls are probably a little bit more like mainstream, tougher, and like slightly biker girls, aren't they? Suicide Girls. These girls are.
They come from a tradition and a way of behaving too, right?
Yeah, and they have a great improvisational ability. Gypsy people, it seems, they're able to like if you put them in this situation, you go right. You have to make something out of this. They're like, all right, well, give me an hour, I'll make something. They're makers. They're doing.
I like it, man. Like the piece I was watching on Gypsies, it's like the sense of community that a lot of Americans don't have. Like I think a lot of other cultures have it, and gypsies, like they support each other like crazy, man. It's such a fine-knit community.
Very fine-knit.
Yeah,
there's a show called My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding, which was massive in England. If you guys are interested in
it's not out here though?
You could probably get it on here, online.
Yeah. It's on TLC. I watch it all the time.
It's
Really?
fantastic.
Sick.
I think
it's
anytime,
fantastic.
being a comic or even
I get a
being an
drink.
actor.
What do you need, Russ? Yeah.
Can we get the man some coffee?
We got fresh roast coffee. We got scotch.
Coffee.
Get him a black coffee.
I
want to hear
I
about
like my women in a cup
There you go. In a cup.
with a handle.
I like my coffee black. And I like my women in a cup with a handle.
With an emblem on the side.
You have this show. So your career's been good. You come here and you're
Good, I
doing
like that.
well.
It's a good description. It's been good.
Well, you know
Is
why
there
I do that?
anything worse?
Do you know why?
Good.
Do you know why?
Solid.
Do you know why I do that?
Solid.
Because
You know what I get?
Because
I
you
get-
never
you're
know with
decent.
acting. Nope. Because you never know with acting. So I'm superstitious. So I don't want to say anything like.
all good,
I don't want.
If you're in Lord of the Rings,
I'm trying
as a
not to
commoner,
jig-
I go, you're fucking killing it,
Lost,
sir.
Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's done very well. What I'm saying is
just
that
fucking
I
me.
don't like saying you're crushing it because I hate that because we know as actors you just never fucking
Something
know.
could happen,
So I go see what I do with my hand. I put my hand out. I went. It's been good.
It's been good.
Gods. I'm keeping the God. I want to keep it right there. But you're doing this other show, Wild Things.
Oh yeah, Wild Things. Yeah.
So explain that to me, and
or just tell us about what you got going on, man. Like you're
what I'm doing, I'm going to London tomorrow to do a film festival for this film called Pet that will come out in January next year. Pet, like a dog or a cat, or a lady, or a guy if you're into that. Lady. It's the story of a young man who meets like his high school crush, not his high school sweetheart, because obviously there's a distinction there. His high school crush doesn't mean that she was crushing back on him, on a bus, and he assumes that there's kind of a connection between the two of them, but there really isn't. But because he's kind of a weirdo, he pursues her and sends her flowers and shows up at her work and shows up at her house and stuff like that, and it gets out of hand, and he ends up imprisoning her as his pet.
Wow.
And it's the story of what happens next.
This is what you're going to play?
Yeah, I already did it. So we're going to go to a film festival tomorrow.
Movie or?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Wow.
It's Goldwyn Mayer. You know Goldwyn Mayer? Which I was really into because Goldwyn Mayer, I'm a movie nut.
Yeah.
And Goldwyn Mayer make beautifully classic movies, 1950s, 1940s.
It sounds awesome, man.
So that's a cool film, doing that. And then...
how long ago did you shoot that?
I shot that in between episodes of Wild Things. So I was in Peru last year, came back for a month, did Pet, and then went to Madagascar to do another episode of Wild Things.
And where did you shoot Pet at?
That was downtown LA. Which is wicked because I live in Los Feliz, so it was like a 7-minute commute to get to work.
That's awesome.
Now,
and
go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. And then Wild Things is kind of my attempt to change people's ideas about animals that most people are scared of. My major passion in life is acting, and then I have a whole bunch of other passions. I love Manchester United. I do like UFC a lot. I love animals, and I've always understood this distinction with people where my least favorite type of animal lover are the selective animal lovers, where they say, "Oh, I like dogs and cats and horses and ponies and guinea pigs, but wasps and bees and bats and slugs and snails are disgusting." You're like, well, these are creatures. They have the same, in the same way that we do. They have the same stories. They were once a kid. They're now an adult. They're looking for a mate. They're trying to stay safe. They're trying to get food. They all have the same stories. There's this disconnect with people where they go, "Oh, an ant," and they just kill an ant. You wouldn't do that to a fucking puppy.
Right. Well, do you think some of that's because
they're still an animal?
Do you think some of that comes from our culture with cartoons? Like Garfield is this fluffy cat, or you look at Pixar, so it's like, oh, Bambi. Yeah, Bambi's so sweet.
Sometimes,
but there's no cartoon really. I guess Charlotte's Web, give me a fucking break. But there's really no cartoon where it's a cute spider or a cute crocodile.
Well, that's because
Crocodile Hunter did some great stuff for
anthropomorphic,
that.
though. We also identify with things that have big eyes that have a face.
But also that we can give a name to and associate and cuddle with, right? Don't you think that's the culture?
Yeah, I think so. Our society is kind of coffee.
A Japanese yellow wasp,
you,
I would have trouble.
Oh, the giant Japanese hornet. Those things
they're
are
terrifying.
so cool.
Have you been around those?
Yeah.
Can you give me some?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
but where does all this fascination with animals come from? Since you were a kid, I'm trying to get to
Since I was a kid, yeah. I mean, my dad was a biologist, became a biology teacher. My brother's a biology teacher. We grew up with David Attenborough, Jacques Cousteau. My dad had an amazing garden when we were kids. I was rearing. I had ant farms when I was a kid. I had snakes and lizards. I had scorpions. I would keep wasps. I had like a tin pencil case at school, which was like a double-decker. And I would keep wasps. I was terrible at maths. I'd keep wasps in the bottom deck. And when I was in maths class, when I knew that they were going to start coming around asking questions, I would release the wasps in class. And
Jesus
just
Christ.
create a maelstrom.
Wow. That's
awesome.
So that by the time it was my turn to answer questions, the teacher had been too busy catching up.
I was very much that way as a kid. I grew up overseas and I lived in Saudi Arabia, and I used to always go and catch a huge scorpion, and I would keep it in this giant water jug, and then I would go and my friend would hold me by the legs, and we'd open the sewer and it'd be crawling with cockroaches, and I would just grab a handful of them and throw them in the fucking thing, and you'd watch the scorpion kill the cockroach, swallow that fucker, but spit out the wings. The wings they would never eat.
Jesus.
So weird.
I
was always obsessed with snakes and stuff like that.
So then you're like an advocate for all animals.
All animals, yeah, all animals. So I grew up kind of an amateur entomologist, someone who's interested in insects. My brother was a herpetologist, reptiles, and we kind of morphed into the two things. So currently, I have a bunch of animals at my house. People always say, "Oh, you have pets," and I'm like, "Well, I don't really have pets. There's a slight distinction. I keep animals. I don't."
What do you have?
You have prisoners.
Yeah. I have animals that I'm learning about their behavior, what makes them, stimulus, what makes them active, when do they sleep, when are they more irritable.
And are you recording all this?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it now is in my head.
For
but
sure.
When I first get an animal, I'm like, okay, let's find out what really tweaks this animal, what makes them relax and stuff like that. So
What kind of animals are we talking about here?
I have 2 boa constrictors, rattlesnake, 2 scorpions.
You have a rattlesnake.
Black widow spider, 2 tarantulas, centipede, praying mantis, ant farm.
Praying mantis?
Will a centipede bite the fuck out of you?
This centipede is, outside of the rattlesnake, it's the one thing that you have to be the most careful.
What?
Really?
It's one of those big, thick red ones?
It's from Venezuela. It's called Scolopendra gigantea. It's about this big. I call it Giselle because it's just all legs.
Holy fuck.
That thing, it's got hooks on the end of its legs, so if it gets hold of you, you can't get it off you. It's like fishing hooks. And it has a cytotoxic venom, which means wherever it bites you, that part of your body is going to dissolve away.
Like a brown recluse or something.
Like a brown recluse.
Where'd you get this thing at? Where do you get all these animals? Like, if I want this centipede, can I order online or something?
Yeah, you can order online. I don't think that's the best place. There's insect fairs and reptile fairs that you can go to. There was one in Van Nuys about a month ago. There's one at the Natural History Museum. So I always get called like, hey, do you want to come and show up? I have friends who are beekeepers and friends who have ants and stuff. So I show up and then I find out what type of cool
If I get
booty
bit by
they
a
got.
centipede and say I'm on mission in Venezuela, don't worry about it. And I'm in
Secret
my
mission.
loincloth because I gotta be one with nature. And all of a sudden, a centipede bites me, but I'm 2 days away from medical help.
Yeah.
How do I treat that?
Well, I mean, good thing to keep in mind is that all centipedes are venomous, even the tiny little ones that you see in your garden. Now, they can't really hurt you, but they'll give you a bite that will be slightly annoying, but all of them are venomous.
But this one's a motherfucker.
This big one will make a real mess of you and leave a lasting scar. So if I was 2 days away from help, I would dilute the wound as much as possible. So if I had something like this, I would just be constantly sloughing. What you'll get is like a slimy part of your flesh. So it'll turn into like a goop. Like that,
because it
like that.
disintegrates.
Dissolving the
It's
skin.
acid,
But that can then
basically.
get infected.
It can. So you slough it away, take off that little dead area, let it try and scar over. If it doesn't heal over and it gets slimy again, do it again, and just constantly be washing it and keeping it clean.
That's nuts,
until you
man.
get some.
Let me ask you this. What are you doing with that rattlesnake?
Well, the rattlesnake, again, I'm like learning a lot of stuff from it. It's the Western Pacific rattlesnake, one of the most dangerous rattlesnakes in the United States. A friend of mine called Jules got a phone call from Disneyland where they said, we found a rattlesnake. We're going to destroy it unless you can come get it. So he went to get it. And that day I was scheduled to see him and do some snake stuff. I tend to hang out with him and we work with snakes and, find out new things and stuff. And he said, I
like that you said you work with snakes. We work with them. I work with the snake. We work the snake.
Well, yeah, that's his thing.
It's never really play with those animals. I mean, non-venomous snakes you can play with a little bit, but certainly venomous snakes, we always talk about putting our game face on. It's like, I'm sure when you get in the octagon, you're like, all right, it's game time now. You can get hurt.
So you can.
There's high risk involved.
If you don't
It's high
die
risk.
from a rattlesnake, you can lose the use of your arm, right?
Yeah, I mean, that thing will give you lasting, lifelong medical issues for the rest of your life, kidney failure and stuff like that.
So with the rattlesnake, what you're just documenting the way.
Yeah, so my friend gave it to me with a view of me getting it as fat and healthy as possible and keeping it as wild as possible, and then sending it up to Palm Springs or Santa Barbara into the mountains when I get the chance, which is what I'm currently doing. But I also, because I work with rattlesnakes in the wild, I'm also working out what are the cues as to when to see when this guy has had enough, when it's annoyed. Is it happy in the early morning sun? Does it get happy in the afternoon sun? Is it hungry on a Thursday? Is it hungry the following Thursday? What are the things that I need to know so that when I'm in the wild and I see a rattlesnake and it's 1 PM and it's sat in the blazing sun, I can say, okay, well, when I seen my snake at 1 PM sat in the blazing sun, it is ready to fucking pop. So I need to get my stick out and be a little bit more careful with it. But if it's in the shade and it looks like it's chilling and it's kind of seen me, but it's not moving, then I know that it's relaxed.
What do they eat? Do you feed them mice?
Yeah, my guy eats mice. Yeah.
Does it bite the mouse or does it?
You know what's interesting? It'll do a few different things because I watch it feed. So if it's really, really hungry, it'll grab hold of it and it won't let it go. So it'll bite it and the venom will go in and the venom will leak into the mouse's body.
Yeah.
But it will just keep hold of it, because you imagine in the wild, if a rattlesnake is really hungry and it bites a
Life
prey,
or
it
death.
doesn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
It's not going to give it the chance to climb up a hill or get something else going to catch it, so it grabs hold of it. If I'm bully feeding it, which is where you're kind of like loading up food on it as much as possible,
Called
what it will
bulking.
tend to do, it'll nick it. So the mouse will run past, it will sit there in a beautiful striking position, this little S position, and as the mouse runs past, the mouse has no idea that it's there.
Yeah.
It'll just go, fuck you, and it'll just tap it on the back of the head.
Damn.
And the mouse will go, eek, and like run off, and then a couple minutes later, the mouse is like
Because
this.
the venom, a little of the venom hit.
Oh, a tiny amount. You're
That's all you
talking
need.
about a minuscule of a second and
Yeah.
a tiny little ampule of venom. But the mouse starts to
Ampule.
drag its feet, starts to fall over, starts to shake. But as that's happening, it's sending out a very strong scent signature to the snake. I'm over here. Part of its change of its chemical compound with the venom inside it
Means it's dying.
is to send this, it's dying. This stress signal, which is really strong. It's like a beacon. So the snake just follows it, locates its head, swallows it whole.
Now-
It's a beautiful snake. I've seen it. My snake's called ayahuasca. I've seen it.
Ayahuasca.
That's great.
Inverted. So it's on a rock like this, and it's turned upside down like this, and there's a mouse here, and it's hunted inverted. Like,
Damn.
you're a fucking gangster.
damn it.
Now, do you, being an animal lover, do you ever feel sorry for the mice?
Yeah, I do sometimes,
Wow.
but I would be a really poor owner.
Because,
of a
like you
snake.
said, you can't say, "Oh, I care about slugs." You know,
Life eats
all
life,
this
though.
stuff.
Listen, I do care about mice, and when I get that mouse from the pet shop, I give it at least a few hours to sit in a dark space,
Give it
eating
some
beautiful
cheese.
food, peanut butter, carrots, blueberries. It has a nice time. I don't stress it out. I'm not shaking it and fucking up or
Yeah.
anything like that. Then I put it in and let nature take its course. If I owned a snake and I starved it to death, I'd be a real dickhead.
yeah,
right?
for sure.
yeah.
So,
No, life eats life. I mean, nature
Yeah, it
is
does.
nature. That's just a
but
fact.
I am interested in that disconnect, in this idea that I would love to live. I feel like I've lived in a generation where people now feel differently about sexism. They feel differently about homophobia. They feel differently about racism. I mean, I feel like I've moved into that generation where
sure.
people are like, that is not appropriate. We don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But it still seems to be okay to be sat around with a pool with a bunch of cool people that are not homophobic or racist or sexist. And one of them sees a bee and goes, "Oh, a bee," and just smashes it. "Oh, an ant," smashes it. "Oh, a spider," disgusting. Not doing anything to you. It's not harmful. The more you fuck with it, the more it's going to hurt you. And also, these are animals. We are animals. We share this world with these creatures, you know. We're not the bosses just because we created a computer or because we went to the moon, you know?
Well, my bigger concern about all of that is not so much the killing of the individual animal, which is why I think hunting, I support it, because hunting and the money that it generates is a huge part of why our national parks and stuff are able to sustain themselves on the level they are. And there's a lot of data to support that. But the biggest issue when you're trying to conserve any kind of wildlife is habitat. And the inexorable rise of human development, sprawl, and flesh that robs all those resources and constantly encroaching, creating fires and all kinds of things.
But
That's the
I
biggest
think
threat.
but that has to his point. He's saying, you know, we can you're if there's a deer or something like that, you're cool. But if you're gonna swat a fly, a spider, a wasp, like they all have the same value.
Yeah.
He's not saying it's not nothing to do with
but,
hunting.
But it does.
What he's
it
saying,
does, no, because what I'm saying is that you compromise. You always have to compromise. We're wearing leather. We're eating chickens. We're eating beef. You're always compromising. You have to compromise. There is going to be animal death.
Yeah, but you don't have to set out there to do it.
That's true.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
true. But even bugs have always been, and if you talk to anybody who's like had to have a farm or something, it was a constant onslaught. It was a constant
look,
fight against
if
nature.
those ladybugs
and
are
bugs.
gangster.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
They
they-
eat your
they-
crops.
yeah, man.
This guy was talking about.
They look cute.
Ladybirds don't eat crops. Ladybirds eat aphids. See, here's another disconnect. Ladybirds eat aphids. Aphids eat your crops.
Exactly.
So you
Oh,
wanna
no,
be
no, no.
No,
You,
no, I know
you
this.
did not
I
know
know I
that.
do this.
No, yeah.
I'll tell
Because
you
you
why.
jumped on,
No,
ladybugs
no.
are terrible.
Here's why I
Then
know
he
it.
goes, no, they're not.
Hold
You went,
on.
exactly.
Hold on. Here's why I know that.
Did everyone follow that?
No, listen.
You don't know everything.
He just reminded me. And here's why. And this is the only reason I know that they eat aphids. Because the guys on the Goldbergs grow their own vegetables. And he was saying that the aphids and wood mites, I think, are killing them. They're destroying everything. And the guy goes, "You got to get more ladybugs." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Ladybugs are the ones you want." And apparently his ladybugs were sleeping on the job, and they all suck.
Ladybugs and ladybug larvae are full-on gangsters. And
They are, huh?
They'll eat like
Ladybugs.
20 aphids in an hour. you
How
know?
big are aphids then?
Aphids are tiny. I mean, aphids are this big. Green fly, black fly, they're tiny. And they're a pestilence. Look, if I was growing a crop and I had, a pestilence of aphids, I would bring in ladybirds. What I'm opposed to is this idea that in some way we're looking down on the animal kingdom. We're the bosses. We get to decide what we want to do. But why?
Because we have guns.
We haven't been here long. We've been here pretty... Yeah, well, yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's
how they feel.
It's an ego thing. Because we develop guns. But if there's no guns, we're kind of fucked.
We haven't been here that long. I mean, the human animal's been here, a couple of 100,000 years. There's other creatures that have been here much longer. If you were to have a chart of the most damaging animal on the planet and the most valuable animal on the planet, the most damaging animal on the planet is us. Yeah. And the most valuable is something like a worm or a beetle.
Or maybe even an ant. Somebody said that.
Ants are incredible.
If you got rid of all the ants, this biologist is talking about, if you got rid of all the ants, basically life as we know it on the earth would be done in about 5-6 years.
E. Owen Wilson said that.
Either ants or bees, right? Would be the most important.
Einstein talked about bees. Einstein said if bees left, then 10 years later, humans would be gone too, which is a great point. I mean, obviously bees...
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, bees pollinate flowers, but they also pollinate all of our fruits and vegetables along with a whole bunch of other animals. So wasps control the pests that eat the flowers, that eat the vegetables, that eat the food. So when you see a wasp and you go, oh, I hate wasps, they sting me. They also provide you food. They give you nourishment,
Yeah, that's interesting.
We need to just connect ourselves to this idea that we share this planet. I don't want to sound
even
like
the Japanese,
You talking about the Pepsi wasp?
No, that's the tarantula hawk.
You ever heard of the Pepsi wasp?
I've seen those things. I've had those things on my hand before.
What?
Yes, you have.
They have a pain meter in the insect world from 1 to 5. It's called the Schutz pain meter.
Let me talk to the expert
I just
here.
Said,
you don't know shit.
Tell him, Dominic.
What do you got?
So it goes from 1 to 5, 1 being nothing and 5 being the worst. There's only 2 insects that share the number 5 slot. Yep. One is the tarantula hawk, the other one's the bullet ant.
I was going to say bullet ant.
And the bullet ant is because this guy shots. He got stung by all these guys. He described it as walking on hot coals with a rusty nail in your foot.
God damn, man!
I'm just pretending I know.
No, it's all good.
How long you gonna do that, B? I heard the first minute though.
It's funny, dude.
And the number one is a sweat bee, which are little bees, actual tiny little miniature bees that drink your sweat. There's a lack of salt in the natural world.
Bee?
Yeah, sweat bees. So when you're out sweating in Africa or South America, you'll be covered on your forehead by these little sweat bees.
Sting you.
They can sting you, but I've been stung by a ton of them because they're tiny and they're everywhere. It feels like it's like a little thing, like a little electrical thing.
Wait, and you're saying they're the least painful?
They're the least.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's what he says.
Sweat bees.
Like when you get a static shot from a carpet or something. It's a little. Oh God.
That would suck.
Oh man, they go in your eyes. I
think of a great shirt for a sweat
I was working
bee.
with a cobra in Cameroon on this tiny little path. It was about this narrow. And the cameraman was here, and we were getting some shots. And I was saying to the guys, "I'm not going to let go of the cobra because if you let go of a cobra, that's when you're in trouble. So let's move the camera, and I'll hold on to it, and we'll get the scene, and then I'll let it go, and then we're safe." But as it was happening, I had sweat bees in my eyes, crawling in my eyes, and I was like, "Can someone come over?" Because I'm holding a snake stick, holding a snake. I was like, "Can someone come over and take these bees out of my eyes?" Because I was like this. And the cobra could have fucking done whatever it wanted in that.
Are they little? Are like little black things?
Oh, they're tiny, man.
Black?
Yeah, black. Yeah, tiny. I mean, they're as big as a grain of rice.
Well, I was thinking maybe like striped, like a yellow black stripe.
Like your shirt.
Yeah, but black
you
and
got
yellow.
Sailor shirt on today. It's good, man.
Get your sweat shirt on.
Hey, can we talk a little bit about the McGregor Diaz fight?
Sure, man. Let's get your thoughts first.
Well, I was training at the gym the other day with.
Because I'll talk about animals all day.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about UFC too.
We'll get back to animals after this. Go ahead.
So I was training at the gym with a guy who went, and he had great front row seats, and I was excited about that because I love that matchup. I love McGregor and I love Diaz. And I said, so how did it feel in the room? And he said, it actually felt like in the room that Diaz won 3 out of those 5 rounds. And I was like, oh, really? I said, obviously, it's a pro-USA room because it was Vegas, right?
Did your friend get stung by a centipede before he saw the fight? Or?
That's what I said. Yeah. I was like, fuck. It felt to me, from an outsider's point of view, that McGregor fought the smartest fight. He didn't fight Diaz's fight. He stayed away. He put a massive cut in his eye, right?
Horrible cut, yeah.
And from a professional point of view, did you guys feel like Diaz was purposefully flopping onto the canvas to try and bring him down?
No, I think Conor McGregor's punches are what sat him down. But
really?
Yeah, and he did it before, but It's very strange to me. Like Diaz has this huge following. I get it, man. I love both those guys. They are legends, man. Yeah. And whatever's next for him, we have and we do it here. We have a bias for Conor because he's such a big draw, and he was the winner. We always talk about what's next for Conor, but no one's talking about what's next for Diaz, because for Diaz, the biggest payday and the best thing for him is a trilogy fight. Yeah. That's where he's going to make the most money. So no one talks about it. And Danny goes, we're moving on from the trilogy. If I'm Nate Diaz, I'm going, the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're moving on? This is my payday.
But if Conor had lost, they would have done the trilogy, right?
Yeah.
So that's a real bummer. I mean, I thought Diaz, I would like to see Diaz at a lighter weight because he's so long.
They'll fight at 55 next. Because remember, Diaz at 55, I think he's ranked number 6 or 5th in the world. At 70, he's like 8 or 9.
Right.
I forget what they have him ranked. But
but
there's this thing with the Diaz brothers, especially Nate right now with this fight. The people wanted to win so bad, they're blind to the fact that just take your bias out of it. He lost the fight. It's not even that controversial.
Yeah.
So when I hear this, and it's everywhere, that there's this weird controversial fight, it's like, no, man.
I think in the room in Vegas, obviously, a lot of people, you could hear the crowd were into Diaz. There was a few Irish fans singing as well. But I just thought that Conor fought a smarter fight. He fought his own fight. He was in his head in a sensible way much more. And those front leg kicks, man. Like if I got one of those front leg kicks, I would be like, okay.
And they also caught up to Conor too, because he's not a kicker, so it affected him later on in the fight.
Foot in the third round.
Yeah, supposedly after the fight he collapsed, right?
This is my thing. Yeah, he was on crutches. But this is my thing, and Brian and I talked about it last night on the Jay and Dan show, but I couldn't get into it in detail. And people are gonna flinch a little bit when you hear this. But just hear my reasoning for it. And I talked to you about this last night afterwards, B. Just hear my reasoning. So for Conor, his coach came out, I think, yesterday on MMA Hour there, Helwani goes, 145 ain't happening. We're moving on from that. It's too tough for him as far as weight cut, and we don't think there's much for him left to do there.
Right.
Fair argument. I think it's more of a weight cut thing because
what does he naturally sit at? 160, 155?
High 60s, 65, yeah.
15.
So he's a big boy. So 45 ain't happening, especially with no IVs and the USADA and all this shit.
Yeah.
So take 145 out of it. Then 145's out. So then you have 155. Let's just go through the top 5 guys at 155. You have Khabib, who's a monster, who's literally like, where the fuck is my belt? He already beat Dos Anjos. He would probably ragdoll Eddie Alvarez. So you got Eddie Alvarez number 1 as the champ. You got Khabib 2, Dos Anjos, Ferguson, Nate Diaz. You got some motherfuckers. You got Donald Cerrone in there somewhere.
Cool.
So you have
he had a good fight.
You have a list.
Row.
You have a list.
They're all bigger men. Right? Aren't they?
Some of them, but it's not.
They're all great grapplers.
I don't worry about size. Let's just let me get through this. So these guys can do everything well. So Khabib's a nightmare for Conor.
Yeah.
Alvarez is a tough fight. Conor still be a favorite, but it's a tough fight. So I'm just looking. If I'm Conor's manager, I'm looking at his future. I'm going, all right, well, 45's out of it, where Aldo, Frankie, those are great matches for him. He hits hard, so he'll probably win those. But we're jumping to 55. Fuck, man. It's really not. Maybe win one, lose one. Win one, lose one, lose
which
two.
Is not good for his legacy.
It's not great.
Yeah.
So what do? I fight Floyd Mayweather. I get $50 million. It's a spectacle. He's not going to win. But it's a win-win. It'd be the biggest pay-per-view of all time. And what's
boxing match, not UFC.
Boxing, straight Floyd Mayweather rules. Boxing match promoted by team. He won't win it.
He boxes like that.
Yeah, but again, I don't care if he wins. I'm not about that. Right. What I'm about is the promotion with that. The biggest pay-per-view of all time. Everyone in this room would order it.
Yeah.
He's not going to get hurt. He's not going to get knocked out. If he goes 12 rounds with the greatest boxer of all time, it's a win for the UFC. Yeah. It's not even his sport.
Yeah.
You do that. That 55 division isn't going anywhere. Get your money, get as famous as possible, which you're going to be the most famous UFC fighter of all time. No other UFC fighter in the world can fight the pound-for-pound greatest boxer of all time. We have no star. We have no other star. Name a guy, not even close. Remember, Floyd asked for this fight.
Right.
Amir Khan asked for this fight. So he does that, and it's a win-win. He's probably going to – I'm not saying he's going to beat Floyd. Don't be crazy. He does that, gets 50, 60 million from that. Then come to the 55 division and
see who's around. Maybe someone's come up at that point, you know.
But again, it's at 50. It's his future in the UFC. He has some tough matchups, man.
I mean, I think the McGregor.
That's my reasoning.
I think the McGregor Mayweather fights an amazing spectacle. I just worry because Mayweather traditionally is kind of a bobber and a weaver and
counter-striker.
McGregor's going to go in there as the person who doesn't know as much about boxing as that guy. I just wonder if it's not even a slight snore fest.
Oh, I think the worst.
Mayweather just dances around.
See, for me, I don't even think.
Again, I don't give a fuck if you think Floyd destroys him. If you think it's a snooze. You take all that out of it. But take the fight out of it. As his manager, I'm saying, you're talking about the biggest pay-per-view of all time. People go, I don't know if Dana's going to do that.
$100
Dana has a CM Punk guy who's never fought in his life fighting on the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
If you're talking about selling tickets and being part of the biggest pay-per-view of all time, that's your fight, man.
It's a good call.
And from my source, I heard it was the deal was so close to happening last time. The only thing why it didn't move on was the money between the two fighters.
Right. I just worry if instinctually McGregor's in the middle of getting boxed around a little bit, and then his UFC brain comes in and he just goes pop,
elbow,
and he goes pop,
elbow,
and Mayweather's like
takes him down.
The worst case scenario is he goes in and Floyd just knocks him out in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because then that boxing MMA argument doesn't work.
Yeah. I used to play Knockout Kings when I first moved to LA, which is 2002. I'd play Knockout Kings. It's all about Mayweather. He's so fast and so young at that point. I loved Mayweather for the longest time. And then when he got into that really obnoxious kind of money, 50 Cent, Kanye, Justin Bieber thing, I was
it was weird. It did get weird.
Yeah.
How are you legitimizing yourself by hanging out with that fucking twerp, man?
It did get weird.
What is that about? I'm the best boxer in the world. I'm going to hang out with this.
I watched Justin
Remember, he
Bieber.
walked in the ring with him. He would hold his belt.
Right. I watched Justin Bieber spar on YouTube.
How weird is it?
I'm from Canada. There's footage of Justin Bieber sparring on YouTube.
What a dick.
It's great.
Why would you watch that at 49 years old?
It was there. It came up on my thing. I went, huh? And I watched. I was like, and it was 4 different videos of the same guy.
Well, he used to train at the Floyd Mayweather gym. I don't know if they're still close, but he used to train there a lot. There's video of Bieber playing hockey too, and he's not bad at all. He's actually really good.
Not that bad. He didn't look that bad at boxing either.
He's a dickhead, man.
He's a dickhead.
I can't stand the society that we're in nowadays where really the number one commodity is fame. Yeah. And however way you get it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Talking about the Kim Kardashian
all
effect?
of them. Paris Hilton's a great example of that. Kardashian's a great example of that. I want to be famous. How do I do it? I have no talent. Well, why don't you get fucked and put it on the internet? Yeah. Oh, cool. Now I'm a billionaire.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that idiot
Bieber,
stuff.
I think, is actually legitimately a musician.
I think he's got some talent, but he's also he's behaves pretty disgracefully. And Donald Trump's a great example of that. Supposedly, the story that Michael Moore came out with a couple of weeks ago is that he was not getting the money that he wanted for a renegotiation on The Apprentice. He told the people at The Apprentice, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm huge. I'm going to go run. I'm huge. I'm going to go run for the president of the United States. And they were like, okay.
Oh, you watch me. Oh, you watch me.
You watch me.
And I really mean this.
And he followed through with it.
Yeah.
And The Apprentice were like, okay, we're not going to give you a new contract because you're racist and homophobic and a fuck. Yeah. And then he was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep going. And ultimately, he didn't want to be president. But the scary thing about Donald Trump, if you compare him to Hillary, who also has her own issues, is that if a large group of people in the United States are going to go into a voting booth and go, well, who do I know the most? Everyone knows Donald Trump. They know the Donald.
She's
a celebrity.
She's ahead of him already in double digits. I think that Americans can't stand at the end of the day. They don't mind somebody who is, self-celebratory, but he's such a narcissist. And I think it becomes very difficult in a way to, not only that, but he doesn't really give you any meat to hook into as far as what we're really going to do about the challenges we face.
Well, yeah, when they ask him stuff and he's like, I don't know about that, but I'll know about it when I need to know.
Yeah.
You fucking need to know.
Now.
Right.
There's a billion people watching. We kind of need a fucking answer.
He's always full of
people. I think people are catching on more we just can't have that representing the United States.
Yeah, we just
can't.
We don't like
when Putin's like, yeah, vote for him. Oh, hell no.
God, I hope so. He's meeting Nigel Farage next week. He was the guy who was instrumental in the whole Brexit thing. They're sitting down to have a powwow to fucking pituitary retards talking about how to run the world.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's funny too, as an American listening to Nigel Farage, because of his English accent, he sounds so erudite. You can get away with so much.
He's so
I'll tell you
racist.
what's
With that
fascinating,
accent?
actually. Yeah, he's got that sort of a really posh.
Yeah, he just talks,
accent.
he's quite
very-
well spoken. So he's like, I really don't like people coming into our country.
Yeah.
What are all these people doing around here?
Yeah,
Like,
you can,
well, that's racist.
Yeah, you can kind of make it when an English person is like, I don't like black people at all. Somehow it's like, he sounds so polite.
It doesn't sound as racist.
He got a point.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, why?
But it's a polite
Do
racist.
tell.
Right.
Do tell.
So
I don't
cultured.
like anyone who with brown skin. I think it's disgusting. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't be alive.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be
I
alive.
can't have tea with them.
Yeah, you get away with murder with that.
No, they're going to come to my. I mean, they can, I suppose, come into my servants' quarters.
Is all your family back in England?
My
Everyone?
family actually live in Spain now. My parents are retired. They
Damn,
retired.
you guys travel.
Yeah, they retired 4 or 5 years ago. So my
Don't a
dad-
lot of Brits retire? I mean, I watch Sexy Beast, so maybe that's
Well,
what it is.
eventually everyone retires, right?
Everybody retires in Spain.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, they do. But I just want to, distinguish my parents a little bit because I'm partial to them. Most people in England that retire in Spain go to places like Marbella,
Yes.
or Benidorm, which is basically like England in the sun with like English breakfast, and it's full of English people. My parents,
Sounds awesome.
yeah, it's not that much fun. You don't want to eat English food in Spain. My parents retired to the very southern tip of Spain, a place called Vejer del Ventura. So from their beach, they can see the north coast of Africa on a good day.
Damn.
Super hot, super sunny. It's all full of Spanish people. So they retired. But I still have a lot of my family in Manchester. Half my family are Manchester United supporters, me as well. Half my family are Manchester City supporters. So there's a big rivalry with
Huge rivalry.
When you go back to Manchester, are you a bit of a? I mean, do you get a lot of love, or are the Brits tend to leave you very much alone?
I don't tend to go out nowadays. You know,
don't?
I wouldn't. I mean, I go to Manchester United games and I go see my friends. But like, I'm turning 40 this year, so I'm not.
You're
really,
40?
Will be this year.
God damn.
Yeah, it's
Must
a lot
be
of
the
drugs.
tea or
It's a
something.
lot of drugs.
No, you look young as shit.
Thanks, man. So I'm not on any kind of bar or club scene or anything like that, but
Were you
yeah.
ever big into that? Like when
Yeah.
you're with your first celebrity, like when Lord of the Rings came out, were you just balls
So I was
deep? in
21, so...
Lord of the
yeah,
Rings,
yeah,
21?
21.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was... I mean,
got
we were
weird.
filming it, so when it came out, it was 23.
I had a friend who I was doing a TV show at the time, and I'm not going to say his name, but when you guys they were casting this, and he came to me and he goes, said no to a part today. And I go, you did? He goes, just felt good. Felt good to say no. I went, what was it? He goes, they wanted me to play one of the hobbits on Lord of the Rings.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention his name
Does-
either because I met him years later and he was
Are his
God, he-
BM?
Yeah.
God, he fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
So he knows him.
Good Lord, he fucked up.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
goes,
he did.
and I just said no, and I said no, and it just felt great because we were on this hit show at the time, or it was supposed to be.
Right.
It died after 13 episodes. Hey man,
And he's
take
not.
the job.
He's not been doing a lot
No.
since then. But
No.
yeah, man, I mean, like any young man, when you have that first flush of a little bit of cash and a little bit of notoriety and stuff. I mean, I was out hanging out with the wrong people and, drinking and...
That was life changing for you, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was.
Was your original contract? Did you have to do all? How many are there?
3.
3.
Yeah.
So you signed for 3.
Yeah, which was
right away.
Which was a fucking nightmare because they got me, Orlando, and Billy for nothing, for no money.
And they knew it was gonna be a huge hit.
They knew it was going to be a huge
Yeah.
hit, but because we had no leverage and we,
just wanted
I'd
to be
done
on there.
regional TV shows in England and a couple of films. They were like, "Look, you either do it or BM does it."
So did you? So with the audition, was it in America or was it in England?
In London, so we had driven back. I used to live in Germany with my parents, and we would drive back to Manchester every Christmas. And on the way back, we would listen to these audio tapes of Lord of the Rings. So I knew the story of Lord of the Rings when I was a little kid, and my dad was a big fan of Gandalf and Frodo and Bilbo and all this kind of stuff. So I got a phone call from my agent saying they are casting. It's an open casting for Lord of the Rings, so it's not going to be, you're not going to be in a room with 5 people. You're going to be waiting in line like this.
It's like American Idol.
50 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go. So I went. I was playing. It was weird because I was playing a skinhead in a play at the time, and I'd accidentally got into a fight on a train. There was nothing. I didn't do anything.
They thought you were a skinhead.
They
or
thought I was
something?
kind of a thug, and they thought that I was into fighting because I looked like I was. And they were like, "We're going to steal your jacket," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then they tried to steal my jacket, and I got punched. So I showed up in the audition with not a black eye, but like a slightly yellow eye, and I was kind of like telling him that was the reason. I think I slightly stood out because of that, and I knew the casting directors. And the casting director, John Hubbard, who still is huge in England, said to me when I was leaving, because he'd seen that play and he kind of had been out drinking with me a bit. He said, "Hey, David Bowie's coming in the next hour or so. So if you want to like sit in the waiting room and see David Bowie come in, you can do that." And I was like, "Fuck yeah."
David Bowie.
Yeah.
So we say Bowie.
Potato.
Okay, right.
David Bowie. I was like, "Who's David Bowie?"
David Bowie.
Well, you know, he said.
Once you learn the language, Dominic.
So I sat, read my magazine, and watched him come in. And was like, "Oh, that was fucking cool." And then I left, and then I went and did a film in France. Came back to London, met Pete Jackson, and sat down and did some improvisational stuff about hobbit-y things and meeting Gandalf and the hobbits on the wooded road and stuff. Then went back to France, and the agent called me and said, "Hey, you might need to fly to LA or possibly New Zealand for one last meeting with Pete, depending on where he's going to be. Do you think you can get out of this job?" And I was like, "I don't think so, but if we need to pull rank, let's see what we can do," because it was a huge deal. Then a couple of days later, he called me up and said, "You don't need to go anywhere. They
gave it to you."
Yeah. How happy were you? You knew it was life-changing?
Honestly, I didn't know how. I mean, I knew it was a big deal, and I was super excited about it. And the four hobbits are definitely going to get a play throughout the trilogy. I didn't know how much of a big deal. I always tell this story, but when I got to New Zealand, I saw Pete, and he said, "Let's go have a look around the set." So I said, "Okay, great, that sounds good." And I was super jet lagged because you go Manchester, London, an hour, London, LA, 11 hours. LA, Auckland, 11 hours.
Jesus.
And then Auckland, Wellington, an hour.
But by the time you get there, you're older.
Oh man, you're just fucked by the time you get there. So we went into Bilbo's house, normal size, so the ceilings were as high as this, a little lower. And everything's there, the pipes, the cloak, the incredibly ornate maps, the working fireplace, the chairs, the tables and stuff. And I thought, wow, this is beautiful. It's so well done, and everything, like in the movies, everything's kind of, semicircular and round and beautiful and ornate. And he said, "Let's go see Gandalf's version of Bilbo's house." So obviously they shrink it so that Ian McKellen looks so big.
Huge.
You go in, and it is exact. The capes are in the right place. The maps are in the right place.
That's where the money is, dude.
And I just remember Pete kind of walking into another room, and I just kind of like drifted slightly behind him, and I thought, fuck, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. This is huge, And then we started, and then you kind of then you're in the zone, really.
Almost cruise control, like you're just getting the job done. No, I don't want to say cruise control, but then you're doing your job.
I had the confidence of a young man at that point, hanging out with young men. Elijah was 18, Sean Astin was in his mid-30s, Billy was mid-30s, Orlando was my age. Vigo was in his late 30s, and we were a crew. Yeah. We were a posse, so we really looked after each other. We all went out together. We helped each other out. So I felt very insulated, and everyone's making each other feel good. Oh man, how's
it's
it
like
going?
a group of guys.
JR fight training together. And we did horse riding and sword fighting and a little bit of dialect training and all this kind of stuff. So it felt like we were a summer
team
camp together.
Like you were a team, like because you guys share an experience. And I think fighters have the same thing, and actors, whoever, you have the same. There's like a group, and you share this bond that only really you guys can relate on.
You get close.
And outside of that,
close.
it's tough. Man.
That's what I loved about doing plays. You get so close to the cast. You spend so much time together.
And
Tolkien was an amazing guy. Did you ever do any study? Like I'm amazed at how influenced he was by World War II.
Yeah.
And the Nazis and the Allies. And that was kind of like it looked like it was a metaphor for that.
Yeah, I mean the hobbits are supposed to be like the soldiers on the front line, and he's a linguist, professor of English.
Didn't he invent his own language?
He invented like 5 or 6.
Jesus
Christ!
He's a professor of English literature at Oxford University, which basically means you're the expert in English language in England.
Which is where the language came from.
Yeah,
you know every word in the dictionary.
It doesn't get any
real.
bigger than that. But he invented Dwarvish, Hobbitish, Elvish, High Elvish, which is interesting because High Elvish, Orlando and I were talking about a tattoo about halfway through it, and we started to get Billy interested in Elijah and Sean Astin interested in and Ian. So we were looking for a language in Tolkien that we could put on us that worked, and we couldn't find anything. So we were speaking to this guy who was an expert in the language of Tolkien, and he said, have a look
in the language of Tolkien.
Yeah, which you can write and talk and read. And he said, have a look at High Elvish. What High Elvish was, there's Elvish, which is beautiful. High Elvish is only able to be spoken and written by kings and queens. No one else in the world can do it. So we were like, oh, that's kind of exclusive and sexy.
Hell yeah, it's exclusive.
So we looked up like fellowship, brotherhood, all this kind of stuff. And we ended up on the number 9, what the number 9 looked like. And then at the end of filming...
Do you remember any of it? Can you say...
Well, no, we didn't speak Elvish. I mean, like...
Where's this tattoo at?
Kate Blanchett did it. Kate Blanchett would be like, in Guananle. That's high Elvish.
In Guananle.
So this is the number 9. That's what we
Dude,
all got.
think
so
about
like,
the detail.
That's so amazing.
Orlando got it here, and Ian McKellen got it here. Billy and Sean both got it on their foot. Elijah got it near his penis. Not sure why.
There you go. Ian McClellan is such a great actor.
Ian
man.
McKellen's a legend.
You guys filmed for how long on the? Because they took forever, right?
Yeah, principal photography was just under 2 years, but then we went back every year for 3 years. So principal photography 2 years, and I said bye to Pete, and he was like, "Don't worry, you're coming back next year for reshoots." We would go back for like 8 weeks of reshoots, come back, do press for the movie. Then the year after that, 8 weeks of reshoots, press for the movie.
Huge part of your life.
Press for the movie was like, Pete and I are huge Beatles fans, and he turned to me at one point and he was like, this must be what Beatlemania felt like at some point, because by the time we got to Two Towers, Fellowship of the Ring was a hit. By the time we got to Two Towers, we were in the position for a little bit of time where we were shutting down airports. So we would land at like Narita Airport in Tokyo, and it would just be shut.
Really? People want to just meet
fucking fans everywhere, and people like screaming and stuff, and we'd have like security cordons, and we'd like go through Elvis entrances and exits, you know, like back doors, kitchens, all this kind of shit.
They just wanted to get a glimpse of you.
Yeah. And that, for a little pocket of time, hanging out in New York or hanging out in London or LA, like I distinctly remember showing up at Leicester Square where there's like 20,000 people, and we're driving in this tinted window car with my mum and my dad and my brother and my best friend. Fucking people screaming because they don't know who's in the car. And my best friend was like, well, this is pretty hectic. And I said, don't worry, this is for Liv and Elijah and Ian McKellen. When I jump out, they'll be like, yeah, oh, fuck, what? And I jump out, and they all like knew who I was.
Damn, you know?
Right,
like,
they Dominic.
did.
I was like, fuck, how do they know my name? That's fucking gnarly. And it just got heavier.
Crazier and crazier.
Like
and so from when you first started filming the first one to the last one, how long are we talking?
You mean
overall?
Including all
everything.
Reshoots. So we started in, what would that have been? April of 1999, 2000, 2001, 2000, like, and then ended kind of 2002, top of 2003.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
That's so cool.
It's so crazy.
But also, like, I think it's a really great... I always wanted to be an actor, and I was always aware of the fact that fame would be like this offshoot of being a successful actor, or might not even occur even if you wanted to be an actor. And because some people work and they're never famous and they love acting, and that's a
craft
noble
of
thing.
it,
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was a great indicator for me as a young man as to what it could be. Like, here's a taste. This is what it can be, but it isn't necessarily what it's going to be all the time, or what it should be. So as a young man, I was able to go, fuck, okay, it's this, and it's pretty hardcore, and that's a lot to deal with. But then I would think probably after Return of the King came out, you know, I did Lost, but I was in Hawaii. So by the time I was in Hawaii,
Lost was huge.
But by the time I was in Hawaii, I was isolated in Hawaii. So really at that point, I'm just living my life. I'm hanging out with people in Hawaii. You know,
you're not getting.
It's not that.
You're not
if
getting
you're filming in
hounded
LA,
with paparazzi.
do you know what I mean?
Different.
And you go to Sushi Roku or whatever, Nobu, and people are taking your picture. It wasn't like that. We would surf and we would hang out and we'd eat poke, and I wasn't a going out type of person at that point. I had my own set of friends and my girl, and I was just hanging. So I think the up and down thing in that intense way was really helpful for me, because I know quite a few actors at the gym that I train at that you can see they're in this like weird place of like, I don't know what this is, and we
talk about this all the time.
Trying to hang on to the fame as opposed to hanging on to the acting thing, and you can't hang on to fame. It's like a ghost. It's like
you also can't control it.
No, you can't.
You can control your craft. Like when you were a kid, you knew you wanted to be an actor. I mean, obviously your balls deep in bugs and stuff, but
By the way, no poisonous snakes or probably not a lot of stinging insects in New Zealand.
Nothing in New Zealand of any great merit. There's some cool invertebrates. The biggest cave cricket in the world lives in New Zealand, which its body's like that, including its antennas. About that.
Cave cricket. Could you eat it?
Wetapunga, you could eat it if you were desperate. But
what are the insects you can eat that are actually?
There's a lot of stuff that you can eat. I mean, insects are great to eat. Crickets are great to eat. Mealworms are great to eat. You can eat cockroaches, field cockroaches. I wouldn't eat German or American cockroaches, but field cockroaches are great to eat.
Field cockroach? The fuck is the difference?
It's like a little brown cockroach. Cockroach tends to live on the forest floor. But the actual push to turn insects into food is an interesting thing. All over Southeast Asia and Africa, they eat insects.
Like crazy, right?
Yeah, it's all protein.
Even here, though, saw an article in Men's Health said the new craze, and I think it was
cricket bars, right?
cricket and grasshoppers.
Yeah, man, it's all protein. There's no fat. There's no like shitty stuff in their body. It's all muscle.
But again,
protein.
people have this weird like, I can't eat a cricket.
You do
man.
have that,
but it's like, but you can eat a beef jerky bar, like a wet,
and also
whole cow's muscle. Point. But then also there's cockroach milk.
Right.
Which is big now.
Yeah, you can milk a cockroach. If you put a little electrical charge through it, it'll milk. But like on a space like this table, you can breed hundreds of thousands of crickets. But I mean, how many cows can you put on this table? Not one. You know, and you can feed a lot of people with that.
If you have seafood allergies, a lot of times you'll have a problem with cricket.
Right. Okay.
They're related.
But wait, what were we talking about? Yeah. So when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was asking how you got into acting.
Yeah, so
Brian wanted to know if you can eat a cockroach. I want to know about your.
You can definitely you can eat a lot of insects. Yeah. You know, if you're stuck out in a foresty jungle situation.
Not for spiders.
Text him, Brian.
You can eat spiders.
You
can eat spiders.
Oh yeah,
really?
I wouldn't eat the legs. It's a little pointless, but you can eat spiders.
You can eat the body.
Yeah.
If ever you get stuck, just text him, man.
I don't want to eat the abdomen. It seems too.
No, that's where the meat's at, son.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, man. Also, a lot. If you see,
hey, also, you're never gonna eat an insect, man.
You don't know if I'm gonna be stuck in the fucking forest.
So, but acting in England is always your passion.
Yeah. So my thing was, I saw Empire Strikes Back when I was a kid before Star Wars. I'm not sure how that worked, but I did see Empire Strikes Back before Star Wars, and really connected to Han Solo. And then the week later, I went back to this guy's house where they had all these videos because we didn't have a video player, and I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I connected that Han Solo was Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford.
And I went back and asked my dad, because I didn't understand at the time. I was only 6 or 7. I was like, how? Because I thought they'd had cameras in space and they just managed to capture Star Wars while it was happening. You know, I was like, how come he's Han Solo and Indiana Jones? And my dad said to me, oh, he's an actor. That's a job. You know, he puts on a costume and he's this guy, and then he puts on a costume and he's this guy. That was it. I was like, wow. I'm going to do that.
Wow.
So that was my thing. I mean, I played sports a lot when I was a kid, but my best friend was an exceptional football player. And I remember thinking, I'm nowhere near as good as him. He was strong and muscular and a great football player. And I thought, I'm nowhere near as good as him, so there's no chance of me being a footballer. But there's no one around that has the same passion for acting, so you should really go into the thing.
I think that's a special skill, realizing that at a young age. Because there are a lot of guys that they'll have a friend who's way more athletic, and then they just ride it out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's almost a waste of time.
I think it's a great blessing if you know what you want when you're a kid. The people that I've seen,
half the battle.
Yeah, the people that I've seen struggle in their late teenage years or early 20s are the people that are smart and can apply themselves to something, but they're not quite sure what they want to apply themselves to.
They want to do everything.
But the people that know when they're young, like, that's where I'm headed, I think you get away from a lot of the
all
nonsense,
the bullshit.
You know?
Which doesn't mean you don't expand your horizons and learn about a bunch of other stuff the way you've done.
Yeah.
But, you can be passionate about one thing, and that can be the main thrust of your focus.
True. I think, curiosity is a great thing to...
Let's go some current events with Evan.
Current events?
Is there a chance I can get another coffee?
Well,
what's the
right
chances?
You can have whatever you want.
Me too, Kay. I mean, I know I'm not as big of a deal as this guy.
I'll have an organic protein shake with vanilla beans, please.
I wanted to ask you...
And a coconut with shaved ice and 2 straws.
I wish.
And some tangerine juice.
I wanted to ask you a UFC question as well after this. It's not really a UFC question. It's more like a fighting question. I wanted to ask, if you had the ability before a fight to take away a specific move or punch or thing in someone else, you don't know who the fighter is. It's not like you can say, okay, it's Anderson Silva, so I'm going to take away this particular skill. A generic fighter. Yeah. What is the thing when you're fighting where you go, fuck man, I don't want like that?
None of that. It'd be mental. I'd take away his confidence.
Oh, okay. Because the fight's one in the brain. Yeah.
100%. There's no sport more mental than fighting.
You've seen a lot of guys who are monsters in the gym, and then when it comes to this,
tons of them.
Yeah,
tons of them. And then I've also seen guys who are terrible in the gym, but they have this confidence, and they get in there. And it's like, there's some guys I'm like, how? I can't believe you've made a career doing this.
Yeah.
Not only have they made a career, top 10, top 5.
Jesus Christ.
All here.
I mean,
because when it comes to competition, they come alive.
They just, when the lights are on, they come alive, and they just have this willpower and this confidence and swagger that you cannot train for. They just have it.
Well, that thing that Anderson Silva had for such a long time.
Forever.
Holy
and think about it, Anderson Silva didn't always have that. He wanted to retire in Pride after he lost in Pride to, I think, Rio Shonen.
Well, didn't Conor want to retire? Wasn't he talking about retiring?
Well, yeah. So, we'll get... So Anderson Silva wanted to retire, and Big Nog talked him into not retiring, and they started going on this win streak, and then he got this crazy confidence.
Right.
And then he was untouchable.
I mean, that Forrest Griffin thing that he did. Oh.
But then you see where the confidence kind of, granted he got older, but then you see when after he loses Chris Weidman, he's a little older. That next fight, you're like, it's gone. It's gone. And then Connor's is different. Connor, he lost a fight, and then he started fighting, but then his buddy who was very talented, he was taking fights, was never getting the UFC. I think he got, I forget who it was. He had brain trauma and was like broke. And Connor's like, this is how this story ends. I probably need to move on. And then like a couple weeks later, he got a call to come to the UFC.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wouldn't answer the phone he kept not answering the phone, I guess. And then finally he answered the phone and said, I'll take a fight. But something clicked with him.
He was already a two-weight champion, though. He's already a two-weight champion, and he was a monster.
But something did seem to click with him, right? Like the minute he got
He's always had the confidence.
Yeah.
Again, if I could take away anything, it'd be that confidence.
Which is potentially where Ronda Rousey's at the moment, right? Because that was a hell of a loss, and it looks like she might be kind of thinking like, maybe I'm not.
And I don't have an issue with that. Like, they thought she was going to come back at UFC 205 in fucking New York, their first fight in New York. Right. And she said, Dana announced that it's not going to happen.
She's not ready yet.
When you're untouchable and you're like that, I just, and you lose in that fashion, I think it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, I mean,
I don't have a problem with her going, I don't want to do this anymore. Because the issue is, so Conor lost was the first thing he wanted. He wanted to fight Nate. Right, give me fucking Nate right now. Right. Whoa, let's build this up. Right. Whoa, get me back in there.
Right.
Someone loses, get me back in there.
Right.
When you see someone go, dude, when it's no longer fun when you have to do it.
Right.
If you make me fight, I'm not going to perform well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If it's on my terms, I have the right training camp, and I have the passion for it, then it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you make me fight, I'm not doing it, man.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, for a long time, she was so dominant and an amazing fighter, Ronda Rousey, and I loved what she did. But I felt like just in that moment, maybe a lot of other people, including herself, felt like she got slightly found out because in her stand-up game,
correct,
it just wasn't there, right? If she gets someone on the mat, she's gonna fucking break your arm and you're
best
done.
in the world, best of all time.
But her stand-up game was lacking, and maybe she's spending the next little bit of time here getting her stand-up game.
She's been shooting movies.
We'll shoot movies too. You got to be careful with that shit.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you get kicked in the face. The thing is for her, it's again, and she doesn't owe anyone anything. If she wants to make a million movies and not fight again, what she did for the sport, she doesn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, it was historic.
If I'm her manager, I mean, maybe she does one more, but again, it has to be on her terms.
Yeah, she made women's fighting exciting, single-handed.
Well, before her, Dana, even when she was fighting Strikeforce, Dana goes, women will never fight in the UFC.
That's right.
So every woman, you should be paying her royalties from
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you got, Ev?
First big one from today is this is not a complete done deal, but it's basically a formality that it's a done deal. Rory MacDonald was signing with Bellator after the UFC could not match terms for his new contract.
Must have been a crazy contract.
No numbers available yet.
The numbers come out, or I'll get you guys numbers.
You'll get the numbers.
Because, I know his agent. But
it's interesting. It's a big mutiny.
It's a big deal.
Are you surprised?
No. I know Rory, and I also know Rory's relationship with the UFC. I don't want this to sound bad, but we had Ben Henderson on Monday. And Ben and I've known Ben forever. Remember when Ben was in the UFC, and he's this UFC legend. He's on the Mount Rushmore 155, if you have one. And he's sitting there talking. And granted, he's older, stuff like that. I don't know. It's not a knock on Bellator. I was just like, you really don't hear about Ben anymore, do you? You just don't. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. It's just not.
It's not the same show.
Well, people fall into this trap of there's competition. There's no competition.
Right.
It's literally like it's CFL and NFL. Mm-hmm. That's
a fair comparison.
It's like MLS, American Soccer, compared to Premier League.
Right.
That's the better comparison.
Right.
It's MLS who gets the David Beckhams when they're 40,
retirees.
Who get these retirees who they're out of their prime. They sign them, they market the shit out of them. We tune into the big games, but other than that, we're really not paying attention.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a knock on Bellator, and I love Ben to death. He knows this. I tell this to himself. But when he sat down, I thought, I don't know, man. I don't know if it was the right choice. Financially, it sounds like it was, which is what these guys are doing. For Rory, he just lost to Wonder Boy. Didn't look like he was going to beat him. Mm-hmm. He had that amazing fight with Robbie Lawler. I think he's number 2 in the world.
I like Rory MacDonald.
I love Rory.
One of my favorite fighters coming out. He absolutely destroyed an English guy. Do you remember when he got this
Shay Mills?
Black guy? Oh my God!
We fought on the same
Tarek
card.
Safadine, the way he fought Tarek Safadine.
Yeah,
he's like the Terminator, right?
Yeah.
Barely looks at you.
Shay Mills, man. Financially, I'm sure you get paid a boatload. And really, if you guys want fighter pay to go up and fighter rights to pay up, the best thing is this stuff. Before you talk about union or anything, competition is what's going to help everyone out. So by him going there, it's a step in the right direction. They have so many guys that have to sign, and they can't be older guys that it's going to take so long.
You need a rivalry too. I mean, they're big shoes to fill. I mean, when you think of mixed martial arts, you think of UFC. When you are a mixed martial arts fighter, the pinnacle is the UFC. That's your goal.
Well, no one dreams about being in Bellator.
Name one Bellator champion. The Bellator, and I follow it.
Well, I can for sure, but
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What was the Japanese one that was around for a hot minute?
In Bellator?
Pride.
Where did Pride go?
That was bought up.
UFC bought it and shut it down.
Yeah.
And then
Very
took it.
clever.
Yeah.
See, they
have a monopoly for sure. It's not even an argument if they have a monopoly. It's how they got the monopoly. Was it legal? That's the legal issues there. That's what they're going through.
Yeah.
They know they have a monopoly. It's just how they went about getting that monopoly. Was it all legal? And that's what people are looking into. But for Roy, I'm happy for him. Again, obviously, I bet he's probably I guarantee he's the highest paid Bellator fighter. I bet he's making more than Rampage, which is a crazy contract. He's the face of Canada since GSP's out. I just don't know, man. I don't know. It's scary. Like Ben was sitting here, I'm just like, I told my brother after, I went, it's tough, man. I'm trying to be, cool here, but it's tough.
So there's a chance that Rory may go into a bit of obscurity in comparison.
Compared to the UFC?
Yeah.
Because
you guys just keep talking.
Yeah, let's do it. Because the UFC marketing machine is insane. There's no one better. They have every connection. They have everything.
Huge promotion. Let's pause for picture.
Thank you.
Well done, Jake. You took that picture.
Yeah, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not hating on Bellator. I appreciate what they do. I love how they're helping fighters out and they're paying the fighters, and they have the freedom of sponsors. And I love Scott Coker, dude. Sometimes I wish he ran the UFC. He's a fighter's, guy.
It is what it is. It just is what it is. It just is what it is.
Roy's team all got together and they obviously made the best choice possible, and
if more and more of this happens, then it could be interesting. Like
Cowboys' contract's up, Rick Story's contract is up, Lorenz Larkin's contract is up. I guess if you had all those guys come over, and then you need depth.
I don't know.
What's Mighty Mouse doing? He's gone quiet recently, hasn't he?
You know why? Because on the next Ultimate Fighter, he fights the winner of that because he has no one to fight.
Oh, okay.
He's beating the shit out of.
So Ultimate Fighter is kind of a cool concept. I was hating on it, but they have guys from all over the world who are belt holders in other organizations, and they put them into the Ultimate Fighter now. And so they're all. It's not like newer. It's not new guys. Yeah. All monsters relative in that weight class.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I remember watching. Were you on the one with Diego Sanchez?
No, he was on I think season 1 or 2. I was on season 10 with Rampage and Rashad.
He was a nut. I loved the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I was astounded when it first came out that you guys all lived in the same house.
6 weeks.
And there wasn't as much fighting as I thought there was. But obviously, I'm not a professional fighter, so you guys have that ability to say, when we're in the octagon, it's on, and then I'll sit down and have lunch with you.
Some
Diego Sanchez couldn't.
Some
do that
there's
shit.
egos. There's egos where they just can't drop, and they're always playing the tough guy.
Right.
It's like the actor. When you're around, he's always in character. He's playing a character that he thinks people expect him to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we've had actors come on here, and he's playing a character. I'm like, what do you? Just be yourself, man.
Right.
Just be the guy that when we go out to dinner, be that guy.
Have you worked?
You don't have to be a character right now.
I feel like Russell Crowe's a guy like that. Have you worked with him?
I've not worked with him. I know people that have worked with him. I think since he got married and had kids and stuff, he's calmed down. But I do know that he was pretty keen on rumbling when the night got late.
Yeah.
You know, he was a fan of getting big guys around him and saying, okay, let's fight.
Yeah, I heard.
Which I kind of respected.
Hell yeah, especially for an actor.
He was big, Russell Crowe, but he
he's
wasn't
a big
big
guy.
like you.
Yeah, for
And
an actor, though,
he'd be hanging out with stunties that were big like you.
He liked his booze.
Yeah, and he'd be like, okay, let's drink half a
He's like
bottle
a
of wine
guy's
and go
guy.
outside and throw down.
Yeah, I've heard
respected
that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's like, what's his name was like that? What's the Welsh actor that was married to Elizabeth Taylor? Richard Burton.
Yeah, Richard Burton. Yeah.
Richard Burton. So, but yeah, he would get fucked up and fight people, and so would Oliver Reed. You know,
Gotta
He was-
Oliver
appreciate
Reed
it.
did too, yeah.
Have you been with anyone on set where, I don't want to say you guys didn't get along, but where because I had a friend, I went to premiere and he's telling me his stories on set, and I was like, no way that guy acts like that. No fucking way. And he goes, oh, we almost got into blows because he was acting like such a diva.
Actors can be surreally bad behavior. Like their bad behavior is not just like I show up late or I'm a dickhead. They can be surreal. They can be satirical. I mean, guys can be like, I'm wearing this hat in this scene. And the director can go, you can't because you didn't wear it in the scene before and you didn't wear it in the scene after. I don't care. I'm wearing the hat.
Patty Jenkins.
Take it off me.
When Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman and Monster, when she first started doing movies, somebody said to her, I think it might have been Warren Beatty, somebody famous.
So he knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, has been around a long time. They said, she said something like, is there anything you tell me? And he said, yes, never, ever underestimate the size of the hole in an actor or an actress's heart or soul that needs to be filled, because it's never fillable with attention. Yeah. Never underestimate how much attention an actor, the person said, especially actresses, don't make the mistake. Don't make the mistake of saying that there is enough attention.
I was going to say, I have met a few normal actors.
So have I.
Male actors. I've met the occasional male actor where...
The majority of them, actually, personally, I
sit down and go...
Great people.
I would say the majority. I think we're talking about the exception, or you're talking about the real famous ones. But it's the same thing as saying, like, all fighters, are assholes.
Sure.
Right.
I can name a few, but in general, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, most actors I'll sit down and start rapping with and, what's your story? And they're like,
100%.
I loved Robert Redford and I became an actor. Or I loved Javier Bardem.
Don't you think don't you think it's who you surround yourself with? Like, you don't think you could have got a big head if you had this weird entourage around you telling you yes?
Yeah.
Like, no one tells Bieber, you can't wear that silver jacket out. You can't. But when he comes out of his bedroom, they'll go, that looks fucking
But
great.
music's different because acting is collaborative, and when you're on a set, you have to rely on your other actors and your friends. And usually, my experience is that actors are real people, and by the way, actresses as well. There's some amazing actresses and great people, but for whatever reason, you could generalize and say there is a difference in a personality type between actress/actor.
I've been working for 22 years now in this business.
Yeah.
I have never met a normal actress.
Thank you.
And I've dated a few.
Elaborate on that.
Thank you.
Elaborate on that.
They are all, just like that comment, they are all trying to fill in the hole that was left by a neglectful father or a neglectful mom or God forbid, an abusive mom or father or an abusive uncle. You got to understand, most actresses are either beautiful or exceptionally beautiful. So if you have an exceptionally beautiful 11, 12, 13-year-old girl, she can get herself in some significant trouble with horrible adult men. And because of that, they have this scar and they need to fill it with, look at me, I'm beautiful, give me attention.
For sure.
Or they become a victim to their good looks. They got that sense of power at a very young age, and that sense of power turned them into a hypnotist in getting what they want. They're just behaving the way any human being would when they have a superpower.
But it's
part of it's just having a
superpower, which is their super good looks, which fades. But when it fades, then they say, "Oh, it's sexism. We're not getting the roles. We're giving it to a 19-year-old." Yep. But you were that 19-year-old 20 years ago, and you accepted the benefits and the privileges then, and now you're upset about it, and you want to come out in the media and talk shit how all these younger actors are getting the roles when you took advantage of it 20 years ago?
The exception, by the way, is female comics, like comedians. Like, for example, Wendy McClendon on the Goldbergs is such a solid human being. And my experience with women who are comedians, they had to develop that side of their repertoire.
She's not a comedian though, right? She improv.
She's everything.
But she's not. She doesn't do stand up.
No, but she's an improv. She's an improv actress. She does it all.
If you spend
Rachel
the majority,
Harris-
because I would say you're wrong as far as female comedians.
Female stand-ups,
Well, comedians.
yeah,
That's what we were talking about.
a little bit different.
Female comedians. Excuse me, sir.
yeah, that can be crazy too.
And yeah.
Well, comedians in general can be pretty fucking
But
crazy
female,
and dark.
I was thinking about this the other day because I was listening to Howard Stern. I think it was an old episode, I'm not sure, on Sirius with Amy Schumer. And she was telling a story, and she just came out with a book I'll read, but she was telling a story on how before she was 21, she was dating this guy, and the guy would, like, when she was taking a shower, would open the shower, make fun of her body, laugh at her. He'd piss on her. He'd just treat her like
piss on her?
Yeah, he'd just treat her like
All right.
shit. And
like
she said it would always, and then he would like hit her, domestic violence.
Whoa.
And Howard's like, why would you stay with this guy? She was like, I just had no self-worth. And like, she goes, then finally I was realizing, like, if I stay in this, he's going to kill me, or he's going to do it to the next girl and think it's okay. And she realized he was just scared to lose her. So he's like belittle her, all this stuff.
Right.
But you hear her story and then you look at her stand-up, and that's the correlation. Like,
Right.
she's filling this whole, she's doing these bits on these guys she slept with, and you know, and the egomaniacs and stuff like that. But it comes from that. And in general, I was thinking about all the female comedians I know. I'm like, it's all very similar stories.
Yeah, they can be a little mental. I'll tell you 2 stories on Lost. I'm not going to tell you the people, but I was on set, which was the beach, and there was a scene where in, I think, season 2, we see a boat, and we're abandoned on this island, so we're waving at the boat, and the shot that they were trying to get was behind the boat was the camera helicopter, so it was shooting through the boat to us on the beach, and we were this big on the beach, just waving like crazy idiots, and one of us had a walkie-talkie, and the director's in the helicopter, and he said, hey, when I say action, just run around on the beach like this is going to be your salvation. And we're really shooting the boat. And we're like, okay, great. So there's a bit of a setup because the helicopter had to fly in and all this kind of stuff. So a helicopter's coming in. Helicopter only has maybe 8 minutes of fuel so that it can do its thing and fly off. And we all know that.
Can't be cheap.
Can't be cheap. So it's all on, timing. So the director's like, okay, everyone ready? The actress that I'm stood next to has a little tiny pocket mirror and a pin, and she's separating her eyelashes with a pin.
Amazing.
She's going, wait, I'm not ready. Are you
Amazing.
fucking kidding? It's about a quarter of a mile away. And it's shooting the boat. She's like, tell them I'm not ready. And we just went anyway. And I was like, put your fucking...
Details, man.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
God,
Isn't
that
that
would
insane?
drive me fucking crazy.
Yeah, those people drive you crazy. And then
I would just have to
would
laugh.
go fucking crazy.
I would laugh.
I've worked with.
You do laugh.
I've
What else
worked
were you
with
gonna
some
say?
big sitcom things. The same thing.
He was gonna say
we're all
another one.
ready, and she's like, "No, I'm sorry. Sorry, I might just."
What was the other story you're going to tell, though?
the other one was a guy, which is the only time where, I mean, this guy's huge. Still working today. And when I say huge, I mean like bigger than you huge. He's a monster.
Muscle or fat?
Muscle.
Okay.
He's a monster. And I walked on set
In
one
Hollywood.
day. Yeah, he's a big dude. I walked on set one day, and he and I had been very friendly, very kind of amicable and chatty, and got a cup of tea, and we're chatting in between shots stuff. Walked on set, and for some reason he was in some shitty mood, and I came in. I was like, hey, what's up, man? I put my hand out, and he went, I'm not going to shake your hand. And I went, what? He went, I'm not going to shake your hand. And I thought, fuck, what did I do? And I hadn't done anything. I was like, you're not going to shake my hand? He went, no. And I was like, all right. And I just walked off set. And then the director comes and he's like, hey, we have to do this scene. And I'm like, I'm not doing a scene with a guy who's not going to shake my hand for no apparent reason. And then this guy fucking gets in my face. You know, like, hey, we have to do the scene and I'm late and I got to go. And I was like, all you have to do is shake my hand, man. Like, it's just
be cool.
manners.
Be a human.
Right, that's what we do. It's just manners. So eventually he gives me like a fucking palmed off handshake. And then when we're done, when we wrap for the day, he like steps up to me in the makeup chair. I'm like, dude, I don't know what your problem is. You're like 4 times heavier than me. And there's no way I'm going to step outside and have a fight with you. But that's just common courtesy. Like, he's English and he knows the deal. I was like, you just shake my hand.
What was
like,
the deal?
he was pissed off with the director, with the set, with the fact that he was at work. He wanted to leave immediately.
Oh, so
he
it
had other
wasn't
shit
you.
going. It wasn't me. He was just like, I want to get this thing going. I'm not
took
gonna
it
shake
out
your
on
hand.
you.
I was like, it could have been gone in 2 seconds.
Oh, boy.
Weird.
I
So stuff
can't
like
wait
that-
to find out who that is.
Me too. I'm
But that's-
dying.
I'll tell you.
We're both hiding behind the mic. Please
But
tell
that's-
us.
My brain's going. I know he said English actor.
It was The Rock when he was playing an Englishman.
That is honestly few and far between. I mean, here's another thing. The biggest actors that I've been fortunate enough to work with are all fucking darlings, you know? And that's when you know when you've got someone who
longevity
is
too,
confident and happy and is in a position in their life where they're okay, they're secure, they make you feel good. Ian McKellen, complete gentleman. Hugh Jackman. I mean, Hugh Jackman could not be
Nicest guy in the
nicer.
world.
And the guy was a fucking beast, by the way. I mean, we would do Wolverine and he'd be doing push-ups
that's
in
right,
between
you were in
stuff.
Wolverine.
And then I stood next to him in this shot and I looked and he had those, you know, things that come down.
Striations, yeah.
But the fucking veins were like dish, dish, dish. And I asked him at one point, I was like, what's your regime to get that big? And he kind of looked at me exhausted. He said, I'll tell you if you're interested. I was like, tell me. So he said he woke up at 4 a.m. and ate a whole chicken. Then he went back to bed. Then he got up at 6 and went to the gym. Then for every 2 hours while he was conscious, he ate poached chicken and boiled vegetables. Like carrots, celery,
You know who gave him
cauliflower.
his workout stuff? I was doing it, seeing this interview. The Rock.
No shit.
really?
He reached out to The Rock, and The Rock was like, "Yeah, here's."
Well, The Rock might be doing other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean-
USADA, I don't think Hugh Jackman and Wolverine or The Rock would pass USADA.
Oh, okay.
Coming towards the end of the day, he would sometimes come over with a little Tupperware plastic box and be like, guys, do you want this? And it would be his like fucking 14th poached chicken and
nuts,
vegetables of
man.
the day. He gives me.
The discipline's insane. So even with that stuff, you try that. Let me know if you look like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. Like, oh, if I did that, no.
He lifts the gym. Him and The Rock. Have you seen The Rock on Instagram?
Yes,
He lifts the gym.
The discipline those guys take, even if they're on supplements, no one in this room would look even close like that. It's insane.
But-
They're disciplined in their workout.
Hey, I wanted to ask you this because, like, you know about nutrition in a way that I don't. I usually rock around about 144.
Yeah.
But I look much better when I get to 155 because I'm small, right? So if
10
I get to
pounds.
155, it actually looks like I got a little bit of an
Yeah, I
angry
bet. Yeah, it
physique.
looks like a lot of weight.
Yeah,
on
it
you.
does on
yeah,
me.
like 20 pounds for a normal person.
Dude, it's so difficult for me to get up in weight because, first of all, I have a pretty high metabolism. Secondly, I don't eat meat. I'll sometimes eat fish. So I'm struggling to try and get stuff in my body.
Tough.
I take whey protein.
What's your workouts like, though?
My workout is like I lift the heaviest that I can lift.
Really? Deadlift, squats,
Yeah,
stuff like
deadlift,
that?
squats, bench press. I don't do any cardio. My trainer's great. I don't do any
You know what?
cardio.
It's like my trainer said to me. He goes, "You're a coat hanger." I mean, he goes, "If I really wanted to, you'd have to eat a shitload, just
It'd
like
be
Hugh
calories.
Jackman.
It'd have to be
You'd have to
calories.
just eat, sleep, and I'm not willing to do that. And
I am, but it's so stressful on my body. Like my whole like
It's not good
digestive
for you.
system's like,
It's
yeah,
not
it's
good.
But
tough, man.
Like, I mean, you know, my trainer was just like, just eat piles of vegetables and sweet potato and tofu
Carbs.
and stuff. Dude, I can't do that.
No.
It's going to be tough not eating, like, beef and chicken.
Don't
and,
eat beef or chicken or pork.
Even then,
Occasionally, I'll like cram down sushi because I'll need it. But when I start getting underneath 140, I look like a prisoner of war.
Yeah, you don't feel
know?
good.
It's
Yeah,
not good. It doesn't look good
yeah.
on me.
But you only get down 140. Why?
When I'm traveling, when I'm off my diet, like
Out of
I'm
your- out of your
flying,
routine.
out of my
I hear
routine,
you.
not sleeping very well, high stress, not going to the gym. But dude, I mean, you know, I'll do like a 6-minute plank in the gym. I'll do like 12-minute abs. I'll lift
You're strong
pretty
as
big.
fuck,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm strong for a little guy.
For sure.
But I'm always saying to my trainer, if we've been training now for a good like 5 months solid, why can I not put on like 7
your body has a
pounds?
set point.
I know,
It just,
fucking pisses me off,
your
man.
bone structure, your body. It's just the way it is.
And without help.
There's nothing, you know.
I mean, naughty help.
Yeah, you need
But
to.
is there
change-
anything
body
like...
type.
but you got to change your endocrine system. And even
Whoa,
then,
science.
And even then, even if you take steroids, you might look like a thin guy who's just put on muscle. They're going to be able to tell.
I know
it's not
guys.
gonna
I
look
don't
that
believe.
great.
I don't believe that, Brian. I know guys, especially in football and fighting, who have put on 10 pounds.
Might be a different body type.
I mean, I obviously don't want to
No,
take...
he's an ectomorph. You're an ectomorph. You guys
What was
are ectomorphs.
ectomorph?
Yeah, but
me.
it takes a tremendous
means-
amount of effort, is what I'm saying. And I don't think.
I don't think
the
he didn't
amount-
ask
Yeah.
how much effort.
The amount of food.
No,
This,
I'm
guy,
into the
this
effort.
guy's not scared of effort.
No, but it's not about effort. It's about time. It's about how are
I
you going
have
to
time.
feel.
When I'm
Yeah, no,
physically.
he's in
When
on
I'm
that.
working,
How are
I'm
you
in the
going to
gym.
feel? Like the problem is when your body wants to be this, and you are changing it to be 10 pounds heavier. It's not going to be healthy. It's not going to make you feel good. It's not.
That's
gonna
not
be-
true.
No.
That's not
It
true.
is.
There's some guys who put on weight and they feel good. I don't to generalize and say if you put on 10 pounds you're not going to feel good isn't true.
When you're him, when you're a type of body type and you want to put on 10 pounds of muscle your body doesn't want, you're going to not only have to eat a lot, you're going to have to keep eating and sustain that. The minute you stop, you're going to go back to your regular.
Yeah, it's called a diet.
You're going to go right back to your weight.
Man,
and is it worth what the changes in your energy, the changes in I don't know. If you're doing it for a part, yeah.
Yeah,
but ask those guys. Ask Gerard Butler.
Have you ever had to do a part where you've had to put on weight or lose weight? Extreme?
Not necessarily for a part, although for certain things I've been much bigger. If you actually see the first initial, here I'll try and find it on my phone. The first initial poster for the pilot of Lost is like pretty much a black and white image of all of us stood on the beach, and that's the biggest I ever was.
How big were you?
My fucking biceps are huge. I'm like for me 160.
How'd you get there?
Maybe.
How'd you get to 160?
I was on a delivery diet system, and I was in the gym twice a day, and I just crushed it. But like you said, I was just like,
it's gonna be exhausting. It's gonna be some work.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh my god!
And then you're like,
it's possible, but it's some work, and it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't happening in 3 months. 4 months.
I just want to see, because I'm obviously never going to be. I don't have the body size of Hugh Jackman and The Rock and stuff like that. But what I do have is I'm kind of wiry and a little stringy. So I feel like, well, if I can look kind of angry, you know, just kind of like
shredded.
Scrawny. Yeah, shredded.
Yeah, shredded.
But even that.
Shredded we can do. Shredded we can do.
Well, what would shredded be? No sugar, no salt?
Oh, yeah. Carbs, lots of water.
Do you guys have a Wi-Fi thing in here? No.
Just get.
What?
Just,
Actually, Evan can bring it up real easy.
Yeah.
The Lost thing.
Which one?
Just put in Lost and then search Google Images, and then I just want to show you that poster because that was a super challenge for me. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm happy. I look like you. Like if someone looks at you in the bar, they go, oh, fuck, that's a little scary. I wouldn't mess with that. And at that point, for I don't know, 6 months, I looked a little bit like, you know, people never
felt
said
good,
that shit
though.
to me.
You felt good.
Oh, man, I felt amazing. People never said that shit to me.
You just want to look a little.
Dude, you look
want to
good.
look a little tougher. You might
I want to look
how about
like
this?
you don't want to fuck with me. And at the moment, people are like, I'll totally
you might
fuck
want
with
to
that
be a little. You
I'll
might
fuck
wanna-
with that guy.
Yeah,
I would not fuck with that guy.
You might
I
want to.
Centipede to the face.
You've got nail polish on and jewelry. The best thing to do is to carry that centipede and throw it in their fucking face, or your rattlesnake. But you might, if you want to feel tough, I would imagine. I may suggest just maybe get into a boxing, do some boxing, go down to boxing burn.
It fucked up my knee.
Oh yeah.
You know that twisty thing when you box where you kind of pivot?
Yeah.
It fucked up my back knee. I got this really sharp kind of pin-like pain in it. I was like, no, that's not for me.
You might just have to accept what you
I might
are.
just be soft. Is that what you're
Well, no, I don't think you're soft. You might be tougher than me because I can't fuck with centipedes or it's a different type of toughness.
It's a different
I can't fuck with centipedes. Bring that big centipede in and see how me and Brian react.
We'll be up on a chair.
Bring me into your apartment. There's rattlesnakes and shit. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, it is a different type.
It's a different type of toughness.
But honestly, in terms of that diet question and the muscle question, that was less around the tough thing, just more like we know what it's like in this business.
Feels good, yeah.
You wanna like if someone says
I've lost weight in this business. Since I retired from Firewind Entertainment, I've had to lose weight.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what's normal in this business now is to look kind of big. Like if I go back to Manchester or whatever, people are like, oh man, you look good. But obviously in this business, unless you look like you,
It's an American. There's an American
Did you find
ideal
it?
to
Is
masculinity.
No, but that's here. Can I steal your phone?
You're showing
This
your
is the
arm. I
poster.
like it.
He's all.
Look at my
Poster has you all.
look at my arm. No, it's from season 1. It's this one, but you can't really see it. Hang on, I'll get a better picture.
Brian, what's the biggest you've ever been? Was it Mad TV?
Literally right now, pal.
Right
I'm
now?
172. I've never been
feel
bigger
good?
than this. I feel great. Yeah, I like to, but for me, it's tennis, boxing. The lifting is third.
It should be.
Right?
It's not very high definition.
I don't care.
Hang on, I'm going to zoom in.
I've always wanted to be a little.
Oh, fuck,
it's
I need- you need to do
again,
that,
the
man.
effort. I've never actually ever made a concerted effort to put on a lot of muscle and lift.
I don't know why you would, unless it was for a role.
It's just never been. Yeah, it's never been my interest.
I got up to the heaviest I was 264 when I checked into camp for the Utah Blaze.
Damn, 264.
Well, he walks around.
And I had a Jufro, and I was sweating, and I looked like shit, and I couldn't wear any cool clothes, and I was miserable.
Hot.
And
all the time, just always hot.
I was in Salt Lake City,
Full
Utah.
definition you can't say, but I'm the guy on the left, and you can.
You spent all this time to find us a fun. I wish you guys could see.
No, but he does look kind of jacked,
it's
like a
shadow.
superhero.
It's his outline.
No, I was big
and
at
it's
that point. I was, like,
animated
stacking,
because
but-
they drew
I
on
see what
you
you're
because they
saying.
drew muscles on
It could
you.
be the lighting.
Dude.
But you do look jacked. That's
I was bigger than I've ever been.
Oh,
and
there you go.
I'm like trying to get back there now, and it's impossible.
They were telling like Hugh Jackman. I read
you.
Hugh Jackman's diet and regimen, which is insane.
Yeah.
Will Smith when he became Muhammad
He
Ali.
looks
was
good. How about him in
insane.
Legend?
Yeah,
he was
insane.
great. Ryan Reynolds has an amazing.
Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool. Or Ryan Reynolds, a lot of people forget, in Blade 2.
Yeah, Blade
he
2.
was jacked.
Now he's doing stuff too, you know. So,
Okay.
but I mean, he's also works out like a fiend and eats a lot.
But this is
I love that guy.
You know Jonathan Tucker
Yeah, I
from
know John.
Kingdom?
I know John.
Oh yeah.
I do that show.
He has a super clean diet. He's in the gym every day. He doesn't do anything naughty because he's very healthy, and he's a monster at the
Tuck was a professional
what I've
dancer.
heard.
Yeah.
And he can deadlift like 400 pounds. He's a solid dude.
Yeah,
man.
he is. He's a cool guy, Tuck. I like him a lot.
I-
have you seen Kingdom? It's kind of cool.
I haven't seen Brian's in. I haven't seen it. I don't have
you're in
direct
it?
TV.
Yeah.
No shit.
We're going back in October.
Yeah, man. I
Just
love
got the
that
call.
show.
Yeah, should be fun. It's a good show. It's a very
Yeah,
good
it
show,
is.
actually.
Yeah.
Frank
What-
Grillo. Our
what
boy,
else you
a
got,
very
Ev?
dear friend of mine.
I'm
Sorry.
interested in that one.
Yeah, I forgot we were doing current events.
Sorry.
Go off on tangents. Next one we got is Idris Elba. We all know who he is,
Yep.
right? Brennan?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I do. You're talking about
sure.
the tiger from Jungle Book.
Just
Yeah.
making sure. So Idris Elba is shooting a show for Discovery called Fighter. It's going to be shot over the course of 1 year, and Discovery is going to air it early next year, 2017. And basically the premise of the show is Idris is going to spend the entire year training with pro kickboxers, pro Muay Thai guys, world-class fight combat sports training. And then at the end of the show, he's going to have a professional kickboxing bout against a professional full-blown kickboxer, not some bullshit guy they brought in like they're doing with CM Punk.
Why
Not
is
that
he
Mickey L's
doing that?
bad or anything,
Well,
but
well,
you
it's
get what I'm
because it's
saying?
awesome. But the other thing is all they did is copy CM Punk. CM Punk's doing the same thing, but he's fighting in the UFC.
In the middle of an amazing career for Idris Elba, who he must be 38 now, maybe 40.
Probably in his early 40s.
Yeah.
Is it him pushing to play James
he's-
Bond, maybe?
Yeah, he's a big guy, 6'4".
I wish he would have been
He's a
James
very big
Bond.
guy.
Could be if he does that. If he comes across as a super scary
Like a
gangster.
badass.
Yeah. I understand the challenge. That seems like how is he going to do that while doing movies and stuff? Is he going to stop doing all that stuff and just that's going to be his life for a
maybe.
year?
Maybe he's just training it. He
might be tired of acting.
stuff like that.
Every
Maybe
so
he just
often-
wanted to change.
Yeah, every
that
so
guy's
often.
made.
He's 43.
And actors get to that point where they think this is the year where I can be at my fittest and it's all downhill from here. Maybe Idris Elba has enough money, he thinks I'm going to take a year out.
Maybe it's
work on
something
my
he's
body.
always wanted to do. You know?
That's what he said. That's exactly
just
what
a
he said.
goal of
He said
his.
it's something I've always wanted to do.
There you go.
What else you got, Ev?
All right, next one we got is the earthquake in Italy that hit today. Hit 3:30 this morning. 6.2 earthquake.
I didn't even
Death
know
toll's at
that.
120 right now.
Ugh,
Bad
fuck's
news.
sakes.
An
terrible.
ancient city without any earthquake-proof buildings.
Yeah, because it's an older place, right? So
Yeah.
they didn't have all the.
Well, Dominic,
a
I think
trend.
before we started recording, you were talking about that poor girl.
I have a really bad. It's kind
Can
of.
you bring us down with a terrible story about a little
Can
girl?
I? I probably
Tell me
can.
this isn't the last event, Ev.
I probably can. There was a girl recently in the last few years or so that I think was trapped in it was somewhere in South America, maybe Mexico, in an earthquake. And the medical department knew that if they took her out, she was going to die because I think there was magma underneath her and it had basically disintegrated the lower part of her body.
Like
So
the movie
she-
Signs.
Right. So she was trapped in this situation where it had basically cauterized her body.
Yeah, where if they
But if they
release
took
it.
her out, she's going to die. So they had like these vigils for this girl for like 2 or 3 days. Her eyes turned black. Her whole eyes turned black. And she started like hallucinating and like talking to the people around her and found peace because she was in incredible pain, but she ended up finding peace in this moment. And then she passed away. And there's some incredibly traumatizing photographs online. But the other thing about it is it shows the kind of strength of that human condition where she knew she was going to die. She was only like 8 or 9. She ended up like talking to her parents and talking to her friends and stuff, and then she passed away. So, thanks, guys. All right, I'll see you guys later.
That's heartbreaking, man.
Sorry
Just
about
ruined. Just crying.
You have any kids, Dom?
Not that I know of, no.
Not that he knows of.
I have a little nephew, 2-year-old little nephew.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But
in Boston.
what else you got? I love, people always say, "No, I got nephews." Yeah, it doesn't count.
I've got
Kids.
dogs. You're like, what?
I got 7 cats and a centipede that fucking. He's cool, man.
All right, last one. According to Ariel Helwani, Jon Jones and Brock Lesnar are now, instead of the normal 2-year minimum suspension, they're looking at a 1-year maximum. Because
why Brock? Brock tested positive for Clomid.
Yeah. Apparently
Clomid and another pre-Clomid.
Clomiphene, letrozole metabolite, which was found in Jones' system, and clomiphene was found in both of them, are considered specified substances under WADA code. And apparently, according to WADA code, those particular substances are recognized to be able to enter the athlete's body inadvertently.
I mean, what does that mean?
So if you just look at what kind of canvas you're dealing with Brock Lesnar, who came from WWE and then fails for Clomid at his age.
What's so bad about Clomid?
So Clomid is what bodybuilders, athletes, normal people take in between cycles or after a cycle of steroids to re-help the natural process.
So it gets your balls to start producing testosterone again.
Oh, okay.
Because your testicles, if you're putting artificial testosterone in or steroids, goes, we're good. We're going to shut down. We're going to shut the factory down, fellas. Yeah. Y'all can go home. And then because you're putting artificial shit in there. And then once you stop taking it, you need to go, hey, wake back up, nuts. We got to get going here.
So it's an indicator that he was taking testosterone,
100%.
taking steroids.
And if you look at the Jon Jones, I can roll with. Jon Jones, a year maximum. If you want to do 6 months, I can get more down with than what Brock come from the WWE and failing 2 tests. Yeah. Talk about privileged. God damn.
Yeah, it's not very.
Did he have to give his purse back?
No, nothing happened.
Interesting.
He might get fined, but nothing.
He can afford that, right?
Yeah.
Jon Jones.
He'll be like, what? I don't give a fuck.
Personally, I want to see Jon Jones back in.
Dana's talking about not DC Rumble next, Jon Jones Rumble next.
Ooh,
then they'll fight DC.
Man,
that's a good matchup. That's a good matchup. Because
Yes.
if Rumble catches you, you're in trouble. Huh?
And I love how DC and Rumble are like, Jon Jones, you're going to have to wait, dog. We're fighting next. They went, what'd you say? Oh, no, because that fight won't sell because you've already fought each other and DC choked you out. We're going to go with this, though. That's what they're doing.
100%.
And it makes sense. Jon Jones versus Rumble is the fight.
Yeah,
that's the fight.
Is he still sponsored by Nike, Jon Jones, or did they drop
they were
him?
like, we're all set.
Yeah.
Even Reebok's like, we have to sponsor him.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have to sponsor him.
It's like the Ryan Lochte thing. That stuff was just, I mean, you have to get ahead of that story, dude. You know you fucked up.
I was joking around. I was messing with my buddies.
Just be honest.
But just be humble. Guys, I'm so sorry. I was drunk.
I'm an idiot.
I was embarrassed.
Yes.
I didn't want my mom to find out that I'd been stupid. I feel so silly.
Yeah.
It's on me. Done.
I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. I really fucked up. My bad. I'm a swimmer. Let's relax.
Right.
See ya.
But saying nothing for like 3 days.
And then lying.
Right.
And then kind of, the gun wasn't pointed at my head. It was my direction.
Right.
Boy.
Justifying it. Well, someone pulled a gun out. Yeah, but you were also pissing all over a petrol station and fucking being a vandal.
Ruined it,
That's right. That's right.
What else you got, Ev?
That's it on currents.
Boom.
Well, I'm torn between my dropping knowledge.
If it's about earthquakes and kids dying, I can't hang.
It's not. It's not. If
it's about gaining 10 pounds of muscle, I'm leaving.
Nope. I guess it's sort of there's this growing faction of people that seem to have a grudging or begrudging respect for Vladimir Putin, including our boy Donald Trump. And I wanted to kind of address it because you hear about him being a strong leader and how some countries need a strong leader and how the Russian mindset, he has a lot of support in Russia. But here's a question, and the Russians perform so fucking well in the Olympics. They always have.
Not this year.
Yeah, but yeah. But even, given all that, they have a tradition of discipline and excellence.
Drugs.
But how come?
And drugs, that's
True. But how come you've never bought or can buy? Well, can you guys name one Russian product besides vodka and caviar? Can you give me? Have you ever bought a Russian car?
Coats?
You ever bought a Russian car?
Mink
Not
coats?
even.
No.
You ever bought a Russian car? You ever bought a Russian computer? Have you ever bought a Russian
watch?
Gadget? Have you ever bought a Russian watch? Have you bought a Russian set of clothing? Do you know
Kettlebell?
Russian even businesses
Maybe those Russian dolls. It's a bit of a. It's a bit
There
of a.
is- there are
Yeah, they go
Russian
boom,
doll
boom, boom.
things,
I'm with you.
There's that.
That's
But
all I
you've
can
got-
really think
you've got,
of.
You've got a country. You've got a country that's
Vodka.
so vast with all those resources, and that has such an industrious and intelligent and in many cases educated
Mail-order bride.
population. Yep. Good-looking people. They've gone through a lot. They've had a very, very
Just
hard
ask what I
history.
bought.
But so, if Putin is so strong, why is Russia essentially a one-crop economy? Why is Russia relying on its oil? Why is their life expectancy so low? Why do they have to become significant by taking over parts of the world, or at least threatening to do so? But they don't produce anything. Do you guys know why? Can you think of what that is? What the culprit is there?
I mean, I feel like maybe they're lying. Potentially, that they're saying we're doing all this stuff and we're such a successful
Well,
country.
But isn't a common theme with anyone like with Saddam Hussein in North Korea, Russia? There seems to be a reoccurring theme here
There
with
is.
these ego,
Well, it's the way the system is set up, right? So the idea is, for example, in Russia, it's ruled by man, not ruled by law. The institutions of a court, a contract that gives you the right to your own private property, and that private property is safe. When you start a business in this country, you know somebody can't just come along because they're in the government and take it from you.
Yeah.
But that is the case in Russia.
Wow.
But let me extrapolate for a second too.
is to drop knowledge of how shitty Russia is.
Well, I kind of wanted people to rethink the notion of what they admire and thinking about a strong leader. And you hear this rhetoric about Putin, and he takes care of problems and things like that. When they had a problem in Chechnya, which was an insurgency, well, the Russians came.
It's not so many Americans,
They just
though.
bombed everybody.
Not
They
so many
just-
Americans
Bully.
appreciate him, though. Because our media here does not portray him in a
That's
good
true.
light.
That's
I don't think any Americans like, we need a Putin.
That's true, but you hear a lot of people that respect someone like Trump who speaks in similar phraseology. And here's an example. When Trump said that the way to deal with terrorists is to go after their families and, quote,
You fucked
we
up,
should
son.
kill their families.
well, that's when you get ISIS.
Well, that's not only in direct violation of the Geneva Conventions, but that's exactly what the Russians have done. That's what they did in Chechnya. That's what they've always done.
That's what the Italian
Ukraine.
mafia did.
Well, even the Italian mafia didn't kill your family. Even the Italian mafia went after
Sorry,
you.
the cartels, the Mexican
There you
cartels
go.
do that, yes.
There you go. So again, what that does is it ultimately weakens the fabric of your country. Let me keep extrapolating because
Yeah,
you're
please do.
British.
I'm
Because you're
interested.
British. Gandhi. Everybody know who Mohandas K. Gandhi was?
Friendly man.
Or
Heard of him.
Mahatma Gandhi, the great soul, who led India to its independence through, by and large, non-violent means. And
that one
brought-
film, and then you never heard about him again.
That's exactly right.
so good in that movie, and they just disappeared.
He was so good in this.
That one film?
The industry got to him.
It's significant because he brought the British Empire to their knees in a way. The British lost the jewel of the British Empire, which was India. Well, how did that happen? Historians have looked at whether or not there was any talk about assassinating this fucking half-naked fakir, as Churchill called him.
No, let's kill this guy.
This guy. But how long would a guy like Gandhi have lasted if he were trying to bring the Russian Empire to its knees, or the Nazis? How fast do you think they would have shot him and all his friends? But the British never did. And what's interesting is, though they lost India, Britain has, and that mentality of that's not ultimately what you do. There's another way to do things.
Right, the
I'm
non-violence
not
thing.
defending the British and their colonialist, history, but you have to understand the fundamental differences and why following rules and the Geneva Conventions, etc., make for a stronger, better country. And when someone like Donald Trump says kill their families, you've got to understand why that makes us weaker, not safer and stronger.
Boom, son.
I love that.
Before we get out of here, we got to give fight picks for this weekend, or people are gonna kill us for Saturday.
Sure thing.
Dominic, you jump in on this, and you've been
Who's fighting?
Just give us the main ones, Ev.
You got it. Just pull up the card.
Your favorites fighting B.
who's that?
Condit.
I love Carlos Condit.
Carlos Condit versus Damian Maia is the main event.
That's
Let's give us the main ones, then we'll get out of here before I pass out from hunger.
before I pass out.
What are you gonna eat?
We got
Chicken.
I can't eat chicken. Damn it! Thought you were gonna give me a
Dominic,
tip.
you want
there.
to gain
You
some
know what he could
serious
eat?
size.
He at Justa he could have the falafel sandwich.
Ooh, they
It will
got a
change your
hell of
life.
Oh,
You ever been to
Justa?
Justa?
Meat? No
Justa
meat?
will change your life.
I don't know it.
All right.
Is it good?
Yeah,
We
you have
should take
time?
it. We should take
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I have time.
You want to take him to lunch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boom.
My nephews, we'll all go and have some fun.
You fellas look like you put down a couple chickens.
What are you okay? What are you weighing right now? 240. Stand up for a second. Show us your legs.
God
and
damn.
Take a place football, Williams. Turn around. Show us that side. Look at the ass on him. Look at the ass on him. Look
Look at the
at him. Look at him.
Big
Squatting a lot, son.
He's a. What are you squatting? What are you repping at?
500.
He's 18. The kid's 18.
His dad's a
That's
monster,
amazing.
though.
And you got your All Black shirt on. I love that. It's wicked.
All Blacks.
All right, what do you got, Ev?
All right, first fight we'll do is Joe Lozon versus Jim Miller.
It's a fucking fight
Ooh, that's a fight.
of some old timers, though.
Yeah.
Don't call those on an old timer. Even though he's been at it for a long time. What is he?
He's an
30
old
at the
ti-
most.
Well, no,
He's had a lot of
UFC
fights.
years. You're talking about dog years.
And
so
Jim
one
Miller,
year's
too.
like 7 years. Yeah, that's why I said old timers.
Yeah. I got Lozon on this, and by triangle.
You think he submits him?
I know it sounds weird, but yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Jim Miller's such
I
a
like Joe
fighter.
Lozon too. I'll say by decision. Fun fight though.
Yes.
Could be fight of the night.
A grind.
I'm just gonna nod. I
Yeah.
don't really.
You don't have to get
That's
detailed.
not in my wheelhouse.
Don't you worry
If
about
you
that.
say a name that I know,
You know
I'll
what? I
jump in.
appreciate that more than you bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing worse when a guy goes, I got Lozon by flying triangle. Like, well, all right, man. You don't know the sport.
That's what I do sometimes. All right.
What else you got?
All right, Paige Van Zant versus Beck Rollins.
Boy, we need Paige to win.
Don't know Beck? Go with Paige just because she's adorable. And
Beck's super tough. Australian, moved out here. Used to be managed by same manager. It's a tough fight for Paige, man. That's a scrap. That's not an easy one. Although in the women's division, there's no like toss-ups, really, is there? They're all pretty equal. Paige needs that win after coming off Dance with the Stars, saying she has the passion for fighting. So we'll see. So I'll tell you, she has the most to lose out of anyone on that card by far. Paige, come from Dance with the Stars, finishing second. She's taking all this time off, but she has all this kind of new notoriety for dancing, right? So the notoriety she got from Dance with the Stars, they're going to be tuned into this fight. Probably, I'm sure her dance partner's going to be front row. You know what I'm saying? So
does she still date Cody Garbrandt?
definitely not. Hasn't for a very long time, but
Oh,
we'll figure
sorry,
it out.
I'm not up
You
on
see
the
Cody.
soap opera.
You see Cody's new girl.
Really?
Cody's new girl.
He's a look.
Oh, I follow Cody. She a dimey dime.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, he's a
You
cute
first
guy.
team all cutie.
Yeah, he's first team all cute.
He's my starting five UFC all cutie.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. By
When
the
he
way.
came in that suit, I said, "Sir, you're the starting point guard. Go ahead and jump in the game.
I got lost in his eyes.
Take your pants off, jump in the game."
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you knocked the guy out. You captain.
He's
now.
welcome. He's welcome at my sex party anytime.
I think his girl has.
Ain't gonna touch you. Gonna look at you.
I think
though.
his girl has a twin too.
Gonna gawk at you though.
Yeah.
As a straight man, gonna gawk at you.
His girl has a twin too. Don't be scared of count sliding them DMs.
That's exactly
pretend,
right.
Pretend as
Hey, are you
pretend
in-
as Brendan
Hey,
Shaw.
baby, you into 49-year-olds with a wife and 2 kids? Yeah.
Hey, you like Cody Garbrandt? Yeah. Well, I'm completely different. I'm 49 and married.
I'm 49.
but I'll get tats on my neck.
wrinkly as shit. No tats. Regular dad bod.
If it gets you to marry me, I'll get tats on my neck.
Yeah, get on this dad bod and these super,
Dad bod.
these super hangy balls.
I'll even go to the gym if you like that.
Oh, look at my 3/4 inch hard dick.
Inch hard dick.
No, my 3/4 hard
Oh,
dick. Fuck.
God damn
Not
it.
inch.
You killed
I fucked it up. Propecia
yeah,
makes it a
Paige
little
really
too
needs to win that
soft.
fight.
Who you got there?
Gel dick.
I got
Old
Paige.
gel dick.
I got Paige because she has so much writing on this. A lot of pressure on that girl for this fight, which is on. No one's talking about it. I guarantee you she feels pressure because she got a lot of shit for Beyond Dancing with the Stars. People are like, well, she still want to fight. She's like, fighting's still my passion, blah, blah, blah. Little cutie, too.
Yeah.
The division needs her, too. Definitely do. What else you got?
Bri, what's your pick?
Paige Van Zandt.
All right, next one. Anthony Pettis, Charles Oliveira.
God,
I know these guys.
motherfucker.
There's a lot of pressure on Pettis.
You know what? I might retract
Damn
my
it.
statement about Paige.
Retract
She has
it.
a lot.
Go ahead and retract it.
So some people losing their careers in this fight night. That's what it sounds
retract.
like. I don't know. Paige has a lot to like. Anthony Pettis is a winner. He's a world champion. Front cover of Wheaties box.
Yeah.
That Wheaties curse is a motherfucker.
It's
and then he's lost 3 in a row. You lose to Charles Oliveira. I think UFC's too scared to cut him because of the Bellator stuff going on right now. Because if you get Rory MacDonald and Pettis, I think that actually helps Pettis in this case. A tough fucking
He's
fight,
the guy
man.
who ran off the cage. And,
Kicked Ben Anderson in the face.
I'd
Good
go
God.
for him just for that run off the cage.
And that would be fair, sir.
That would be fair.
What we've seen out past lately, though, it just ain't there, is it? And I love Pettis.
Yeah.
Love him as a fucking
Tough.
human being.
Tough.
Who you got, B?
I got to go with Pettis. Just because, and I'll tell you why. He's a champion. He's got that mindset.
Used to be
I
a
understand.
champion.
I understand that, but he's got that mindset, and his back is to the wall. He's got to
His
win
back
this.
was on the wall last one.
I know, but his back is super to the wall.
Yeah.
Now his back
He's like a wounded animal.
Yeah, now
you don't
it's-
want to fuck with him.
don't fuck with
There's
him.
nothing worse than fighting a guy who's
hell of an
nothing to lose.
athlete and a hell of a fighter, and I'm going with Pettis. And he's got that spirit.
My heart says Pettis. My head says Charles. That's what I'll give you. What else you got?
Main event, Condit Maya.
See, this has been very intriguing to me, and I'm definitely going with Condit. And here's why.
Hey, before you give your breakdown, can I throw a little,
Please
just
do.
a asterisk in there?
Please do.
Condit with last fight talked about retirement.
know
Said
he
he wanted to retire and didn't think he was going to fight anymore.
Yeah.
So when I saw him take this Damian Maia fight, it's a little alarming when you hear that.
Maya
And remember, Maia was on a.
still is, right?
Can you read off his last
9
4 for me?
wins?
No, he hasn't won 9 in a row.
Okay.
Take it easy on that.
Really? How many?
No,
has he
he'd
won?
fight for a world title if it's
Yeah.
9 in a row. 9 in a row, bro?
He's won a lot.
Maya's on quite a roll.
Not 9, though.
Win over Matt Brown, win over Gunnar Nelson, win over Neil Magny, win over Ryan LaFleur, win over Alexander Yakovlev.
5. How about before that?
He just
Back-to-back losses to Rory MacDonald and Jake
That's what I
Shields.
said. That's what I said.
Because sometimes it's just cool just to, like winning.
Five.
You know what, do
I
you
said- did I say
service
9?
if you just said
Did I
winning
say 5?
streak?
I meant no. Dominic said
9 and does he
Yeah,
get a title
I said
shot?
5. Dominic goes 9. I was like, 9. To make him feel welcome.
Yeah, I whispered 9.
Who you got, B? You got your boy Carlos, obviously.
Well, I
Let's
have my
bet
boy
on it.
Carlos.
Double or nothing.
I got my boy Carlos because I think Carlos is a better striker, and I think Carlos is good enough on the ground to be able to neutralize the great
Double or
Damian
nothing.
Maia.
You owe me $6,000 if Damian Maia wins.
Wow.
Really? You want to go? Wait, you're betting what? That Damian Maia
Well,
is
if you
going to
took
win?
Carlos Condit, I would take
you're
Damian
bet-
Maia.
I'll take that bet.
All right, double or nothing, because
All right.
you're never going to pay me.
Yeah, I am.
That's big money.
Yeah, I am, dude.
Oh, shit.
What's up, dog? You all right?
Dude,
You good?
raw, hot, and I have confidence.
Yeah, you don't look happy.
I'm fine,
You know what? He's like, look at these fucking meatheads.
Is this every week?
See that shit?
Usually we do it by our dicks, like those old Roman statues you see.
Yeah,
we usually do it like
dicks.
that.
Hair and dicks.
Isn't it weird they
And
used to
start our
wrestle with
wrestling
dicks?
that way. Yeah.
They like grab it like as like a handle.
We should do it sometime just as a goof, just as friends. Friends.
I'll bet you on that. And I love Carlos. I'm way more supportive of Carlos. Carlos has been on the show. I'd much rather see Carlos win than me win my bet. Again, my brain says Damian Maia. My heart says Carlos.
Is it
Condit.
because you feel Carlos is on the fence?
when I hear someone goes, yeah, I'm probably gonna retire. This is
Yeah.
my last one, and I see Damian Maia on a fucking streak and on a mission with his skill sets, I
Man,
go,
oh, man.
that's gonna be tough. 5 rounds too.
How do you think decision?
Carlos has better cardio.
Yeah.
Again, if this is if Carlos is coming off a win and confidence, and I didn't hear retirement talk, I got Carlos every day of the week.
Right.
When I hear that little bit of a hiccup where I'm probably gonna retire, I'll take one more against Damian Maia. I don't like that,
Yeah.
especially if I have money on
What
it.
do you see? How do you see Damian?
Submission.
Really?
Getting his back.
Damn.
I know.
Has that ever happened to Carlos?
I don't
Ever?
think he's ever been submitted.
I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. Again, I'm rooting for Carlos. I don't give a fuck about the money. I'm rooting for Carlos as a friend
Right.
and as a Fire and Kid alumni. Damian Maia ain't coming on the show. It'd be a terrible fucking interview.
Got you.
Yes, yeah, jiu-jitsu. What the fuck? Anyways,
Hey,
I think that's
watch
it.
your mouth, sir. Come see
that
me
it?
in Columbus at the Funny Bone.
You're there
Tomorrow.
what days, B?
Tomorrow, Friday,
If
Saturday.
you keep touching your hair like that, you're going to have no hair by the time you get
I
to
know.
Columbus.
Only come if you like to laugh super hard.
Thursday,
hour.
Friday, Saturday, Columbus, Ohio. Go see Brian Cowan. And then tfatk.com. We are in San Jose, Oxnard, Brea, and then Palm Beach. But San Jose is almost sold out. One night only. It's a Thursday night, September 22nd. tfatk.com. And we have the original Abbott Kenny Fight Club soft grade tees dropping very soon, kids. This is the Fire the Kid.
Hold on, let's thank Dominic.
You don't have to thank me. I'll just drift away.
Dominic Monaghan.
Dominic already laughed.
You're a beast. We heard you were a beast. And
I told you I was a beast. I want to.
We have our sources.
Rogan told me you're a beast.
Yep, and other people.
I like Rogan. I like Rogan a lot. We got into some stuff, Rogan and I, about ants and humans. And I thought he didn't really like me when we were done. He was a bit prickly with me.
No.
And then,
I think everyone feels that way with Rogan.
Yeah.
He's like those rattlesnakes you were talking about.
Yeah, he's spiky, but I like
Depends
him.
what time you catch him. 1 in the afternoon, if he's in the sun, stay away. If he's in the shade around 6, you're doing a fight companion, he's fine.
Well said. Brendan, why don't you sign us out? Dominic, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you, guys.
You're the best, man.
Fun.
Yeah.
We'll put some weight on you.
Yeah.
10 pounds. You'll be back on when we put on 10 pounds. This is a fine kid. We're out.